Live, episode 66. We are definitely deep up and through here. Um, I am trying to figure out why my internet is tripping at the moment, but
Sound
I'll
good
get
to
that
me.
figured out in a second.
What is that background noise? Denny, what are you watching?
Oh, y'all can hear background? My bad. Let me
Yes.
mute myself.
Yeah. We got
You need to
the
be able to hear it. You got it
the
playing.
whole story.
What the freak? So this week, our top five is our top five celebrity meetings um, of all time, which is like just a dream. If you could pick five people, alive or dead, that you could meet, that you could actually meet in person, who would your five be? Um, I have them ranked because we always rank things, but to be honest with you, I don't have a. I would love to meet all of them. I can't say that I need to rank them for the show. Uh, that's what we're doing for the top five, and we also will have a slew of special guests. We got Queen Chauna Lawson coming back on here. The Also known as CC the Geek on IG, and I think that's a TikTok handle too. But she is who put together HBCU Con last year that me and Danny went to and enjoyed thoroughly. This year it is themed for a different world, so I cannot possibly think of anything that's more dope than that. So she's going to be on here.
Y'all better sign
about
up.
the Kickstarter that they have going on and that we promoting.
Did y'all sign
so
up?
she's going
Did
to be
y'all
on
actually
here. We're
sign up for
having
tables?
Tyler Forest.
I said, did y'all actually sign up for the tables?
Are they open?
Yeah.
Nice.
Through the Kickstarter?
Nah,
They're doing it through the Kickstarter
through the website, dude.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Website. Yeah, Morgan,
I was not aware that it was up there yet.
Your internet is a little ghetto tonight.
Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead. I'll see if I can get that fixed.
That's all right, man. We make it. All right, so I guess we're supposed to have writer, artist extraordinaire Kyron Silva on as well. And of course, because of the topic, we're going to do our reviews for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Tyler Forrest Martin has decided, he said he wanted back in. We had quite the conversation today on the direct message thread, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Morgan's his internet is ghetto right now. I don't know why his is always ghetto compared to ours.
We'll see with Tyler. He said that he was gonna try to jump in, but we'll see. I think we're gonna have a good conversation tonight, man. I think we're gonna have fun.
Yeah. I mean, we said we're gonna do the list first, so that if you haven't seen the movie, you can bow out. If you don't want to be spoiled, you can stop watching. We won't take offense to it. But if you have and you want to be a part of the conversation, we're gonna do that. So we're supposed to do the list first. We waiting for Morgan again.
Aren't we always though?
Y'all don't have to make stuff up, bro. You ain't gotta wait for me. You got a whole show. Both of y'all got two shows. Y'all know how to run a show. Shut the hell up.
You see how angry he is, man?
I don't run any of these shows.
Why you got to be the angry black man? Why you got to feed into the
stereotype, bro? I'm gonna cancel that. I'm gonna cancel the angry black man stereotype.
Oh man, Morgan always big mad, yo. When Morgan is happy, it's like his whole temperament is different, but his baseline is angry.
Yeah,
he get on the show, this is
angry, just ready to go. But
that's why look at it. He dipped out.
That's why we gotta provide balance for the show.
I know that's what we're here for. We're here to make y'all laugh. Morgan is here to be angry at what we say.
Um. Anyway, yeah. So we're supposed to do our list first tonight, so we can
Hey,
have a conversation that we've had 50 million times because for whatever reason, Javon and
I don't
Tyler
want
feel
to.
like something different now.
Why are you grouping me in with what Tyler said? Knowing good and
Y'all,
doggone well, I
y'all are
didn't say
making
the
the
same thing.
same. Y'all are making the
No,
This
we're not
same
y'all
making
are
the same
literally
No,
argument
no, we
from
are not
different
making the
angles.
same. No, it's
no,
not. Then it's not the same
y'all aren't
argument.
making the same argument. You aren't making the same argument, but you're on the same side of the argument though.
Correct. Um,
Jamar, you supposed to be on here, man. You ain't even let me know if you want to be on the show. I asked you.
Pray for you,
Whatever. He'll say the list is always a lie. Anyway, we'll have that
um,
conversation.
yeah, we'll get to that after a while, and I'll probably say a little bit, and then I'll just let those guys whine. So,
I see, and you see what you see. Y'all heard him say wine, right? All
yes,
right.
I said
Like I
whine
want
every
you to
time we talk about
understand,
this.
but do you understand? That's very
They're two se-
that's rude.
I,
I'm expressing my
I've been rude
opinion,
every
and you
time.
refer. All right, cool. All right, angry
But,
black man.
but see, the only time I'm not going to be rude,
Come on, angry
I
black
will
man.
I will be rude in this because I've been as respectful as possible in our chat,
Have
right?
you
Like
though?
I have,
I don't think so.
Thank you,
very
Daddy.
clearly and concisely,
Thank you,
I've
Daddy.
very
I'm
clearly
glad.
and
No.
concisely been like,
Nope,
I've been like, you
nope.
know what? I
Danny
have
called you out
exhausted.
on it. I'm glad. Thank you,
No, he
Daddy.
didn't.
Thank you, Daddy.
Listen,
Thank
I'm
you.
trying to
Thank you.
explain. Okay, so
No, we're
I
not talking
said
about
in
that
the
right
chat,
now.
I said in
Get
the
to the
chat,
list.
I'm
Get
trying to make sure that
to the
everybody
list.
understands, so you're
They
not
can
lying on me.
understand. They can understand after the list.
Sure. All right.
Get to the list.
Let's do the list first, and then we'll get to the other whack conversation. Um,
We're supposed to be
uh,
reviewing the movie.
yes, we will do that as well. I do look forward to reviewing the movie.
Angry black man.
Somebody, Borg, you might need to take a day off, bro.
No,
You
no,
obviously are upset about something, sir.
I
Yeah,
am
we not even
upset.
mad.
I'm gonna
I'm
get
not
to it.
even mad. I'm not even
I'm gonna
mad. I
get to it.
promise you, I'm not mad.
I'm gonna
I,
get
I
to it.
promise you, I've had an epiphany, and I'm gonna tell y'all my epiphany
All
when we
right.
get to. I promise.
All right.
It's gonna
Um.
shock. It's gonna shock you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, go ahead,
It's gonna
Morgan. Go
shock.
ahead,
It's gonna
Morgan.
shock us, all right. So our guests,
Uh.
weren't doing a list. It's just us.
Oh, buddy.
Where they at?
Oh, buddy. Yeah, see, we were trying to get to it, and here it come. See, I don't know
Listen,
what to say now.
hey, Tyler, man, do me a favor, man. Drink some decaf before you get on the show. Just drink some
Nah,
decaf.
nah, he need to come
Have
on
some
full
warm
guns
soup.
blazing.
Nah,
Nah,
Morgan extra angry today, man.
Well, it's
I
good to
am.
see. It's good to see your brother's faces. Let's start with that. Seriously,
Good to you too, bro. Tyler's here. Shauna will be here about 8:15. She has a list too, so by the time we get through our list, Shauna should be able to come in. We can introduce her, and then she can
Where's
give her
Kyrie?
list, and
Is
then
he
we can
eating
get
his
into
dinner?
everything else. I don't know what Kyron is.
Kyrie eating dinner? He always complained about not being able to eat dinner, even though it's like
But
3:00 where he.
So we're gonna do the list. Let's get to the list, and then that'll give us time to when Shauna comes in, we can get her in here. For those who don't know who Tyler is, as you can see, the antagonist in the background, writer, creator. At some point, I'm sure he'll be a director. My guy. Show got greenlit. You know what I'm saying? That joint's gonna be coming out next year, right?
hmm
Next year. Show he has a show for the antagonist already. Mega Woman. What's the title y'all just picked up?
Magnus.
Madness.
Bro, y'all just be forgetting about Sharpshooter, bro. Come on now.
Godhood Comics is
Bro, you know
out
what's
here.
crazy, Danny? I even forgot about Sharpshooter, and someone just did a review
Bro.
of Sharpshooter that reminded me about Sharpshooter. I was like, I got to get issue 2 out.
Sharpshooter
That's
was the
just-
first one of y'all. I want to say Sharpshooter was the first one of y'all that I saw. I saw Sharpshooter before I saw Mega Woman.
No,
Yeah,
we saw Mega Woman first, bro. At the con
Didn't you?
in Atlanta.
I had
thought you
Sharpshooter. I had Sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter was out before Mega Woman.
I saw Mega Woman.
No,
I didn't see
Mega Woman was first, but I had Sharpshooter at that convention.
All right. Well, yeah. So Tyler, Tyler was just on what 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
So we're honored to have him come back.
Enraged, angry.
I had such an amazing time.
That's what it's about, man. You know what I'm saying? And I will say, I expect an explosive conversation. So, the list, like I said, who wants to go first? I don't remember who went first last week.
I don't know, but
My
when the
list is
last
easy.
time you went first, Morgan?
I'm pretty sure. I thought I went first last week.
Was
But
it last week?
I can go
It was
first.
only
I
the
don't
two
mind.
of us, wasn't it? Last
I
week.
can. No, I can go
My
first.
list
I
is
don't mind.
All right,
I don't
go ahead,
mind.
Danny. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, my list is easy.
Okay.
Brandy.
Yeah.
Nah, because I thought about it. And my list might surprise y'all, I
Oh,
think.
Lord.
All right, go ahead, man.
All right, so
This is the
and
top
like
5
Morgan,
celebrity meetings. The top 5 celebrity meetings.
Yeah.
So if you had a list of 5 people that you could meet face to face, dead or alive, who are your 5 that you would want to meet or have to meet?
Celebrities.
That's what we're
I
doing.
think
Celebrities. No biblical
I
figures.
put this list together, and now I realize what it is. These people are like in my brain, their
What's up, Edwin?
legacy. Besides one person, most of these people are just like unbelievable, personas. All right,
Okay.
and these are not in any particular order. Like these are people that I would want to meet to see if the legends are real, right?
Okay. Prince.
Okay, no, Prince's. I believe the Prince stories.
Go
I
ahead.
believe the Prince stories. These are not in particular order, but I'll just say, David Blaine. I've said repeatedly, David Blaine might be the devil.
Wow.
The stuff that
What?
he's been able to do. Bruce Lee on my list.
Good stuff.
Kobe.
That's a really good one.
I would want to meet Kobe. Dwayne McDuffie,
That's a good
just
one.
as the legend that he is. And number 1 is Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was the one that was always on the list that I never even took off the list. So yeah,
I'm so
that's my list.
surprised that
Good
Brandy
list.
ain't on your list. I am so
That's
surprised.
good stuff.
Brandy and LeBron started on the list, but they got kicked off.
That Bruce Lee pick
You
is a really
kicked
good one.
Brandy off for David Blaine. Wow.
Yeah, like I said,
She ain't gonna want to meet you now.
that's
Bruce
fine.
Lee's a good one, bro.
That's cool.
That's a really good one. All right, Daddy, that's a good 5 right there, bro. And I am surprised, to be honest with you.
That's the best list you ever had.
Wow. I'm not even sure how we could. Yeah, can we poll this list to see who has? I guess we probably can.
Do we want to? I mean,
I don't. Yeah,
I don't care.
I don't know if we can poll this. So all right. So my 5, and this was
so
very.
now that I get a good list, y'all don't want to poll it. Y'all want to poll when I get a good list.
No,
we
gonna
can poll the
it.
list. I don't really care. I'm
My
so
list.
far ahead of. I'm so far ahead of both.
What the fuck?
Far ahead.
You what? You up 1?
I'm up at. That's all I need. That's all I need.
I'm so.
I was trying to say I'm so far ahead of Danny, but since you want to be there, I'm ahead of you too.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad you clarified. This list was really hard for me to do, man. No, I was not. This list was very hard for me to do. Very hard. But I had to narrow it down to 5. It was hard for me to even order them. I still don't know that I'm gonna give an order, but I would be honored to meet all 5 of them regardless. So my number 5 is Issa Rae. She to me is a force. She is a insanely talented, down to earth example of all the things that I want to do. I mean, she started writing and doing her thing on her own, you know what I'm saying? Just like we all have built, you know what I'm saying, built that up over time by working her behind off of whatever and got where now she out here, a whole mogul in these streets, created one of the best shows to ever come on HBO. That literally was for the culture, helped change the culture in some ways, man. So Issa Rae is number 5. And I feel like everybody I put on my list, that was one of the things I had to do to narrow things down was everybody I put on my list were people that I felt like if I sat down to have a conversation with them, we could actually converse. Like it wouldn't be like a hi bye type thing or I'm too busy or whatever. Like I felt like I could actually sit down with them and have a really good conversation. So Issa Rae was number 5. Number 4, Ryan Coogler. It was hard for me to narrow down directors and writers that I look up to for their storytelling. Because everybody knows. I say I say what my like my favorite people. I say my favorite people all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like people that I look up to that are
man.
writers, directors, and creators. So Ryan is definitely on that list for all the work that he's done, and especially for his foundation, like the stuff that he's put forward for the culture of Black people, and the way that he storytells for our people. So Ryan Coogler is another one. That's number 4. Number 3, Denzel Washington.
Denzel.
If it's the respect level that I have for his craft and what he does, but also if you've ever heard Denzel talk, he does not know how to not drop gems, like straight diamonds that could change your life, and he does it in succession. You know what I mean? So being able to sit down and really have a conversation with him, I know he would help me. Some of the things that all of us do it. All of us have things that keep us from producing as much as we should or as well as we should or whatever. And Denzel would probably stamp all of that out of me, at least for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Just because he's so inspirational, you know what I'm saying? So I would love to be able to sit down and have a conversation with Denzel, man. Number 2, Muhammad Ali. Oh my God, man. And
Good one.
everybody knows how much I love Muhammad Ali, man. What he's done for Black people, what he did for Black people in this country is insane. At the level that he did it, unbrazen. I mean, completely brazen, unapologetically, and still was always the greatest. I mean, I could go on and talk about Ali forever, but Ali is my number 2, and that was hard to put him at number 2. But my number 1, Malcolm X. If I could meet Malcolm and sit and have a conversation with that man, especially Malcolm after he went to Mecca. His autobiography is one of my favorite books of all time. Meeting a man that's been through what he's been through, that has that type of conviction for everything that he encounters. Again, all of these people are people that I feel like sitting down and having a conversation with them can change your life, especially me because of the track that I'm on and the things that I love to do as a creator and just as a person on earth to be able to leave a mark. So that's how I had to narrow my 5 down, because I had a whole bunch of people on this list to try to sift through. So and I'll get to that later once we all do our list. But that's my 5. I'm gonna type it in while I let one of y'all go.
Yeah, that was a good one. I had Malcolm on one of my as one of mine, but I'm going to change it. That was real good. That was real good.
All right, you need a minute. All right, I'll let you get a minute, Tyler. You
Oh no,
ready
I
to go
can.
now?
No, I'm ready now. I'm ready now.
All right, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
You know, so much of what we tried to do with the antagonist was like really inspired by Malcolm X in the beginning, and also how he had that shift towards the end, where if you really know your history, him and Martin Luther King were kind of switching places. As MLK was starting to become a little more assertive and aggressive, and Malcolm X was kind of becoming a little passive and open-minded. But yeah, so number 5 for me is going to be Judge Judy, Judith Scheinlin. Completely
Wow.
obsessed with Judge Judy. I'm watching the new show. I've seen every episode. I have been stuck on her since I was like 2 years old. Obsessed with Judge Judy. I'm actually working on getting tickets to the show, her new show, to go see her in person. I have got to see this woman before she passes away. I have got to see her.
That's awesome. That's a good one.
Yeah, so that's number 5. Number
What's she
4,
like, 87?
82, 78 or 82.
Dang, she don't look that.
78 or 82. Yeah, I actually got it on pause right now. That's why I was watching. That's why I was late. And number 4 is going to be, of course, Stan Lee. Just kind to pick his mind, in order to pick his mind on what he was up against. I mean, every day all of us fight to get our IP out there, to become established. But we're fighting in an industry that's already big and huge. Imagine like just starting off and trying to sell grown people on picture books or funny books. You know what I mean? So just there was a podcast, and I got to send you guys these podcasts. It's a podcast on Apple Music, and it is about Stan Lee's rise and fall and kind of the lessons we can learn from him and his lawsuit with Marvel, and how ownership of your IP is like super important. And then that's number 3, right?
Yes, I think so.
Number
Yeah.
3 would be George. Number 3 would be George Lucas. He's the epitome of taking your IP
That's a
and
good one.
letting motherfuckers know what's up. He sold his IP for billions of dollars. I think that is the ultimate person who I would love to sit down with. And number 2 is going to be Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence is one of my favorite actors and favorite comedian. His timing, and I'm a '90s baby, so what he did for us would just really open doors for. He's kind of stepped out with his movies and took risks that no other comedian was taking at the time. As far as Big Mama House, Black Knight, like this man was really all over the board in the '90s. So that's be my number 2.
Okay.
And number 1 for me would be shit. Damn, I had 2. Number 1, I had 2 number 1s, but I'll have to pick it. Number 1 for me will be Whitney Houston.
Okay.
Whitney Houston is the best entertainer, singer of all time. No one topped her prior, and no one topped her after. She will go down in history as the best vocalist of all freaking time. I would do anything to go back in her prime, in that bathtub, and like try to save her, because her redemption story would have been one for the ages. So,
Yeah, you
boom.
never lied. Okay. All right. Respect for that.
That's a good one. That was
Yeah,
a good one.
Kenny, you can put it in the group. I'll put it up.
Tyler should have been around for them early conversations we was having.
About what?
Well, Beyonce, Whitney, and Janet, and all
Oh
that.
man, listen, that would have went really.
Woo,
Man, that would have went
mercy.
really left.
Well, even
All right,
y'all know how that would have ended. Whitney's always on top.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
whatever.
Let me go. All right.
Yeah.
So my list is everybody who I feel like has A, influenced my life, or B, been a
Darby's a
mentor
good
in
one.
my head.
Dave Chappelle's definitely a good one.
That's a good one. All
I'm
right,
listening.
so-
I'm just.
No,
making
you
sure
good.
I'm
I was
right.
reading it too. But my number 5 is purely selfish. And it's Maya. I have never had a crush on a singer or celebrity
How dare
for
you?
as long as I have her.
To this
Literally to
You-
this day.
You
I'm
have
talking-
nerve. You have
I-
some nerve.
I'm talking. I watched the premiere of her movie, her music video for All About You.
Me
and I was
too.
like, that's it. That was it.
I hate you.
How could you watch it? You was lit. You know what? We're not doing this.
I hate
She
you.
wasn't on your list though, Morgan.
No, she
Come on,
wasn't.
your
So
She
list.
be
wasn't on my
quiet.
list for a
So
reason.
be quiet. So be quiet.
Okay.
Number 4, I gotta go with Barack Obama. Morgan and I had a conversation about it.
I thought you said he wasn't a celebrity.
Can I finish? Morgan and I had a conversation about it, about being a politician and then being a celebrity. He was a politician. Now he's more of a celebrity. We talked about it. Like that's what I did. That's why I didn't have somebody like Malcolm X or MLK.
He just campaigned 2 months ago.
Hold on.
But
he's
politicians and celebrities are one and the same in a lot of. But go ahead.
But I'm saying for me, once again, this was my criteria. Since we didn't have a criteria, my criteria was I didn't want like a politician or like a civil rights leader. Like I didn't look at them. I don't look at them as celebrities. I look at them as civil rights leaders.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? Like that's how I look at it in my head. So I understand that if you don't, that's fine. That's all right. Okay. Number 3, Todd McFarlane. I have been wanting to sit and talk with this man and pick his brain since Spawn first came out. Like literally, like from Jump Street. He didn't even know it, but he influenced me to keep doing Heat because I had reached a point where I was burned out, no pun intended, and I watched a documentary on him, and he was talking about how like he had to put all his energy into Spawn to make it the best thing that he can make it. He couldn't just he couldn't divide it and do all these different projects. He had to make Spawn great first and then move on. So Todd McFarlane. Number 2, Quincy Jones, man. I mean, Quincy Jones is honestly, in my opinion, responsible for R&B today. Like if I'm keeping it a buck, like R&B isn't R&B if not for Quincy Jones. Plus I heard he's real fun to be around. That every story people tell about Quincy Jones is like having a good time. And then number 1, I'm Stan Lee. I'm right there with you, Tyler. Like I've never gotten a chance to meet him before he passed, unfortunately. So like that, Stan Lee was, my hero as a kid growing up. I mean, every comic you had Stan Lee Presents, even though I realized the political part of the politics involved with it. As I got older, it still doesn't matter. Like all these characters that we love, they come from them. So that's my 5. Older, it still doesn't matter. Like,
All right. Well, that was literally perfect timing there. Javon just got done with his, and Shauna was able to pop in too. So that's what's up. For those who do not know, Shauna, she's been on the show before, but she's also all over social media and taking over her corner of the world. Bowie State, HBCU Con, which she's gonna tell us about.
Shauna, big famous. What are you talking about?
I'm trying to tell you, bro. If you don't know CC the Geek on IG, you should go follow her right now. But I don't even want to give the rundown of all the things that she's influenced outside of the dope time to me and Danny had at HBCU Con last year at Bowie State. She was mad busy, so I wasn't trying to be a stalker last year, you know what I'm saying, to try to find her, but I wanted to find her, give her a hug, because you know what I'm saying, you did your thing. I was very proud to be there, and I'm definitely looking forward to the one coming up this year. So
great show.
Without further ado, Chauna Lawson.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And on behalf of my mother, I must correct you. It's pronounced Chauna.
Okay, Shauna. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, you good. I know that the Cheryls and the Sharices kind of got us confused.
I was trying to tell them that.
But my name
is
That's why I go by CC so much, because my name is so often mispronounced. And I'm just like, whatever, just call me CC. But it's all good. I'm so happy and blessed to be in this space with you all again. And I do apologize. I'm very like casual and chill today in my bed because I'm recovering from a HBCU summit that we hosted at my job. Because I'm now blessed to do HBCU advocacy in my full-time gig, as well as in my passion project with the convention. But yeah, man, this is it's really awesome to be here. I really appreciate this.
Of course.
You're welcome.
And I lost my voice, so I do not sound like this.
It's all good. We were doing our list first, but I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to go ahead and do you want to do your list first and then tell us about HBCU Con? You know what I'm saying? Or do you want to go ahead and do tell us about HBCU Con and then do your list afterwards? It's up to you. Because I'm gonna pull the Kickstarter up right now.
I appreciate that. I mean, I guess I can do that because that's like it's like tying my shoes at this point.
Yeah, I got you.
But essentially, like, the HBCU convention is built to celebrate and bridge the gap between historically Black colleges and the Black geek community at large, or really the geek community at large, to create an authentic HBCU experience with a geek twist that everyone can enjoy. So we had our first live convention, earlier this year on the campus of my alma mater, Bowie State University. We had 572 people show up, myself included. And I would say about 20% of that attendance was panelists, staff, guests, etc. Where the other 80% were like people just coming out and showing support, right? So it was just a really profound event. So we were able to raise a little more than $16,000 this year for this year's event. We're trying to do it again next year. And really that's kind of like the bare minimum that will be required to like make this event happen, right? Because you have tables and all that stuff, but conventions, it's so much, like I spent more, it's a lot, trust me. But before I get too into that, yes, thank you for bringing this up, because part of the reason why I'm so adamant about HBCU culture and connecting it to geek culture is because historically Black colleges are largely responsible for the Black middle class. So a lot of the things that like we enjoy and we take for granted, whether you attended a HBCU or not, HBCUs have given us the platform and given us the space to do these things. Even when you talk about like affirmative action and putting pressure, stepping on the necks of PWIs, like, hey, you know, there's a lot of Black talent out there, and if you don't get some of it, you're going to get left behind. To the point where, you know, now up until recently, HBCUs have struggled to find talent because PWIs were swiping them up, right? For the athletic scholarships or whatever. But at any rate, that's kind of like where what I've been doing. I grew up in a world where all the aspects of Black culture and geek culture were never mutually exclusive. They were always one and the same for me. But then navigating the world, I realized that there was almost this over surmounting pressure for the Black nerd community to strictly align itself with mainstream culture. And if you dare to like show any signs of cultural pride, whether you like hip hop or whether you like sneakers or whatever the case may be, suddenly that makes you less than, you know, a nerd who only listens to rock and skateboards, even though both genres of music were created by Black people. Like I could go on. But yeah, this is essentially what we got going on. And I feel like I've been talking a lot. So if you guys have any questions before we continue with the top 5 celebrities, then I'm definitely down to answer them.
I will say before, I mean, I could play the video, but I also want to bring it to everybody's attention. You know, it says as usual, I play it. So, you know, I'm not one of these people that's getting ready to go tell people, you know what I mean, to go, you know, go join something, to go do something I haven't done it myself. Not to mention, I actually went to the con and it was dope. You know what I mean? Like I literally cannot imagine. You know, I that's not my minute. That's not my grace level. I can't. It's not my thing to be able to put something together and, you know, put on anything of that level. I don't want to put on a party at my house, so I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine trying to get people to come and come to a HBCU and get everything set up there, and then like it's your first one and everything goes smoothly like that. I would look, that was amazing. It was great to be in the building. The band being there was dope. You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of the vendors that I know being there. You know what I'm saying? So, and I really, really, really believe that once it gets to the HBCU campuses and people know what's going on, like truly, it's no way. It's no way that it's not gonna pop in a whole different way because like you said, some of the things that you said about HBCUs and how important they are, but more importantly, how they already contribute to the culture. Immensely contribute to the culture. And now, you know, one of the things I was excited about this year is this themed after a different world, which I mean, come on, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like a different world is one of the. We literally just talked about a different world like a month ago when we were doing. I forgot what our list was. Was it top 5 most influential? What top 5 sitcoms?
Okay, and they recently celebrated a milestone. I want to say A Different World turned 30 or 35 this year.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that, man. I'm old as heck.
Yeah, because Kadeem Hardison and Jasmine Guy came on the Breakfast Club and they were doing like media rounds about it. They went on BET. You know what I mean? So to be able to do a con, I can't wait to see. You know what I'm saying? The different themes and how it's going to be incorporated into the show. So I put the link in here. I'm gonna make sure I keep it up.
I just backed.
Oh,
appreciate you, bro.
Yes, look at that. Come on.
Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, I know Kenny was looking for the link, so hopefully, you know what I mean. If people see what it is, you know what I mean, and then come and express it and know what the vision is, there's no way this is not gonna pop, bro. Because me and Danny just went to Greensboro last year for something that A&T was connected to, but I can't remember what it was that they were doing. They were doing it at the Coliseum. And the blessing of being at HBCUs is, number one, the love that exist among them, regardless. Aside from what we playing each other in football or basketball, I mean, but it's
Right.
love afterwards.
Or band battles, right?
Yeah. God knows band battles,
Yeah.
but the camaraderie of all of us, especially like I said, for it to be themed after a different world, like a different world opened up literally a different world for me mentally of
Mm-hmm.
things that I had no idea existed. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to come to a convention, a comic convention that can celebrate geekdom, like you said, in all its forms. You ain't got to just be, you know what I'm saying, listening to grunge music or heavy metal with skateboards and all that type of stuff. There's people that are geeked out that love Black Panther that we're getting ready to talk about, that love all of those things, but they're not into, you know what I'm saying, they're not into like that type of music. They're into rap or whatever, but they're just as much as geek as you are. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
Like geekdom does not have a specific face to it, a specific
Right.
dress to it, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And HBCU Con is the perfect place to be able to meld all of that together, man. So I'm excited. I hope that I see we got some. Dang, how many did we get? 3
Don't talk
already?
about band battles. Yes, come on now. I
Look,
love that.
I'm
I
just
love
saying that's the energy that always exists. You know what I mean? Like it's always there, man. So I'm excited. I'm gonna definitely keep pushing it. Like last time, because I remember last time. You know how Kickstarters are, man. Like it's so much work that goes into doing a Kickstarter, man.
Yes, it is.
Oh my god, and
It's its
stress.
own heavy lift. Like it really is.
Yeah,
And it's kind of anxiety inducing. Not even gonna hold you because it's like if
a
you don't make the
million
goal, that's you don't get anything.
exactly.
But it does, Kickstarter does provide like a really cool platform for creators such as ourselves. And ultimately, really like what we're trying to get to is like whether you're into the grungy and the skateboards and the punk, or whether you're into the hip hop and the Jordans, or whether you're into both of those things,
Excuse me.
the common thread is Black culture. Like
Amen.
that is the common thread. We are here to reclaim the narrative and to reclaim our history and our heritage, because house music was invented by a Sigma from Chicago. Like all these various, like pretty much every genre of music in this country has been created. Black people have a hand in it, if not invented it. So,
100%.
just like really taking back that narrative and refusing to be put in a box. Like, no, this is what really happened. This is what our culture really represents. And we are allowed to be multifaceted individuals just like everybody else.
Absolutely.
Because when people of other cultures and stuff indulge in hip hop and stuff, it's seen as perfect. Like nobody bats an eye. When our culture is being consumed by others. But when we indulge in our own culture, whether it's on the rock side or the country side or the hip hop side, it's always seems like we're kind of like othered or demonized for it, right?
Mhm.
When we should really have the freedom and expression to be ourselves, just like everybody else. That's all we want. That's all we ever asked for.
I agree,
And
100%.
I'll say this: when I was at Baltimore Comic Con, man, everybody know about HBCU Con. Everybody was talking about it.
I love that.
Everybody was talking about
I'm
it.
telling you, bro.
They were like, "You gonna be at HBCU Con?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be there."
I
was like,
told I
"Yeah, I'm
told
gonna
I
be there."
told Shauna, bro. I told Shauna, but after the show went, because I waited because I know you had mad people that was talking, but I was like, look, bro. First off, thank you, what I'm saying, for putting it on, because I know the work. I literally think about the work, and I'm like, nah, my guy, I couldn't possibly, what I'm saying. So I'm dead serious. Y'all understand? Just that's not my gift, what I'm saying. But to put it on, be the first kind that what I mean, like the pressure to do that, and then like I said, to have it go smoothly. Like again, please, thank y'all, thank everybody who already backed it, man. Thank you,
Yes, seriously.
thank you. Thank you for the. I think didn't we? I don't remember where we started before we came in, but I know we got
We
some.
definitely made at least $200 since we've been on this
Yeah,
podcast.
And,
I
and,
really
and Shauna,
appreciate that.
I'm gonna work on. We gonna get you on the Stoke podcast too within the next few weeks, so that
Thank
you can
you.
push it on there too. We gonna make that happen. Even if I gotta do a special episode, so we can talk to everybody, get this over the finish line.
yeah, we got to push this, because like I said, it's too dope of a project not to be highlighted, not to have it back, not to have people sharing it. You know what I'm saying? So, and God knows we're all creators, and we're in a community full of creators, so we're always, sharing something, or like shoot, we got Tony and them, their Kickstarter is about to close tonight too. For 5-star, you know what I'm saying? I think it closes at like 9:25, 9:30 tonight. So I'm gonna make sure I post that link too. But yeah, please help spread the word, because in Kickstarter, that's the hardest part. That's the most painstaking part, is you're getting on people's nerves.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You're getting on people's nerves, but it's also necessary because that pool of friends that you have hasn't seen it. So if you share it in the algorithm, God knows the algorithm, especially on Facebook, is horrific.
Yeah.
So we need help with sharing this and getting it out there. Please tell your friends. Word of mouth is still the best marketing there is. So tell people, you know what I'm saying,
That's
word of
the
mouth.
best.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Trying to always say, we've all had successful Kickstarters, and I always say the goal is to like have everybody block you. Like that's how much you want to be through your friends and your family, and then your colleagues and other creators. Is like you want them to absolutely block you, because that's the work and grind that it takes. Seriously.
In that part, like the hustle and the grind and the determination is something that I very much identify with. The thing that I think has been the biggest step out of my comfort zone has been like, I don't like if I don't like asking people for things one too many times. Like if you either gonna give it to me or you're not, and if you're not, I'm gonna find a way to get it myself. You know what I mean? Like that's just always been who I am. I've never been into like forcing anything. And I definitely don't like asking people for money. I definitely do not like, I don't know if it's like the strong, independent Black woman in me or what, but I do not like asking people for money. Like if you give me money, I'll take it, but I'm not going to ask for it. So that's kind of like the biggest thing for me. I've always been a coalition builder. I've always been an activist pretty much my entire adult life. And I know that word is like so faux pas in this community for some reason. That's a whole other conversation. But that's who I am. And that's kind of like what I do. This is a labor of love for me and my team. We have an amazing team. I'm so proud of them. And we had a phenomenal screening yesterday. Brought some students from the brought some students in from this HBCU summit and had them it was just seamless. Everything was seamless. I'm so grateful for all of the supporters. Like even when I shared the spiel about the Kickstarter today, I think I got more story shares off of that post on Instagram that I've gotten in a long time. Normally to get that many shares, I gotta be have a lot less clothes on or something. But I was just I'm just always so taken aback by the outpouring of support for this project. And I thank you all so much because you podcasts such as this one are the reason why this project is so successful, because it doesn't matter how great your idea is if nobody knows about it. So I just really appreciate shout out to all the podcasters, shout out to all the photographers and videographers who help us capture this content and help give us content that we can produce and put out into the world. And a lot of this stuff is really people our team is completely made of volunteers. So I know I could really go on and on about this thing because I'm so passionate about it. But I just wanted to say thank you, quite frankly.
Oh no, it's completely my pleasure because
thank you for doing this venue.
Seriously.
Thank
seriously.
you.
Yeah, no, I was about to go get my card out of the car in my book bag, but
I'm still mad I didn't make it last year. I'm still mad about it. I've been apologizing to Shauna for like a year now.
Why are you apologizing to me for, man?
I've been saying I'm sorry since I was supposed to.
Are you apologizing to me or are you apologizing to yourself at this point?
Both. Both of them. Both.
All I know is we had a good time, and I know on that Sunday it was me and Morgan were talking about it the whole time. We was
Sunday was popping because
Sunday was crazy.
And Sunday is never the best day to sell. Almost, I mean, it usually Saturday
usually for vendors.
Sunday, bro. We was bro, this is ridiculous. I don't remember how much we made that day, but we
ended up shutting down late. We ended up shutting down late because people just kept showing up and wanting to talk and wanted there was a dude that came through from the school to interview us, and there was
Nice.
Yeah.
It was all kinds of crazy. So absolutely.
Yeah, man. That's one
Oh
thing I
my
love
God.
about like HBCU culture, because so often what you hear is like, oh, we ain't go to a HBCU, so we're not really, it's not really for us, or we can't come. Like, no, people from HBCU graduates understand that this is about all of us, whether you went to a HBCU or not. It's about uplifting the culture and uplifting people who look like us and people who normally would not get this level of attention simply because of how you look or the color of your skin. So that is just something that has been very profound to me. It's something that my parents instilled in me at a very young age, not even like explicitly, but just from leading by example. And it kind of like would break my heart to like see that not be commonplace, because I think so often we get entrenched in the hashtags and the trends and all that, but this is a way of life for me, at least.
True.
And I think that the more we embody that, embodying being pro-black and being unapologetic about who we are as Black nerds and as Black scholars, which like we Black people been scholars since ancient times. Like this ain't nothing new. Like we used to teach everybody else shit. Like excuse my French.
We not new to this. We true to this.
Yeah, like we're definitely true to this. So just like really taking back our power and really like helping other businesses and brands who were doing the same thing.
I definitely will be posting the link, as we continue through the show. And I'm definitely gonna put it back up before we get off of the show. But I know that did you do a list, sis, or you want to go ahead and get into Black Panther? Because I already know that's about to be Lord.
I
It's
could
about
do
to be
either or. So I was thinking about my list as I was like listening. I definitely would add Nichelle Nichols to the list because I'm like really salty I didn't get to meet her before she passed. My mom actually named me after Star Trek. She named me after Shauna Triskelion from the original Star Trek series, who was in a single episode and one of Kirk's little love affairs or whatever. So Nichelle, yeah, definitely Stan Lee. I really wish I had the opportunity to meet him. I've heard really good things about him, and just like how cool he is. I feel like if I could meet LeVar Burton, I'll definitely like be happy.
LeVar Burton is a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
LeVar
a really
Burton
good
is
one.
a good dude, man. Megan Thee Stallion, definitely my favorite HBCU nerd right now.
Okay.
I just love her. I love everything I love how she like has kind of come out into her own on behalf of Black Lives Matter and like speak and also just being vulnerable about like the things that she's endured over the past few years. And kind of like the obstacles that she faces in spite of being a college educated Black woman. I very much identify with that. So who I'm trying to think. Lena Horne.
That's a really good one.
Oh, and last but certainly not least, Dr. Dorothy Height. That is one of my biggest regrets, is that I didn't have the opportunity. I did have the opportunity to hear her speak, which was like in person. And of course, she was my soror and our past national president, who did a whole lot to build the infrastructure of the organization, and then later went on to serve as the president of the National Council of Negro Women. So I mean, I don't know if that counts as a celebrity. I know that y'all were kind of talking
40
about
years.
activists from celebrities, but she
That's
got the
my
presidential.
thing. That's my thing. Don't worry about it.
But she got the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the Congressional Medal of Honor. So you know what I'm saying? She was kind of like real close to that
Absolutely.
to that line. And she also was like a heavy a sounding board and a mentor for like some of the greatest activists we've ever known, like Bayard Rustin, Martin Luther King. Like she was their like mentor. So yeah.
Okay,
That's good list. That's good list. Yeah.
Thank you.
This is one of them lists though that like it ain't like we could like really,
No.
you know what I'm saying? Like we can't really go at nobody. Like bro, you put who on your list? You know what I'm saying? Like you can't.
Right.
Well, I don't know, bro. Right now, if you had said Kanye or
Oh no, we're not.
you know, if
We don't even
if somebody had said Kanye, oh, it'd be like, oh my god, or
I was
Trump.
gonna put Donald Trump on my list just to see.
I should have put Trump
Just
on my
to
list.
see
That would have
what
been
y'all-
see
everything
something,
up.
just to see something.
Yeah,
just to see it, make sure y'all reacted the right way, just to see.
Just
I
to
mean,
see.
I put him on my list because I want to smack him.
Right.
I mean,
You want
know what I
5
mean?
minutes in
Like,
a dark room with him. That's
I
what
mean,
you want.
yeah, let's just give
that's
I-
feasible actually.
put some get these hands. I mean, you know.
Right.
So
Man, I got plenty of people I would fight for free.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For sure,
Oh,
he's top of that list though. That's facts.
for sure.
all right, I got a question. Since
All right.
since we're about to transition into the Black Panther, y'all know I
Oh
only got
Lord.
y'all know it's my bedtime, so I
Oh,
gotta
my
get in here
God,
real
bro.
quick, okay?
Ain't got no.
All right, so
bedtime.
as a review, I just want to hear everybody's
Hold on,
review.
time out. You can't say you have a bedtime when you be watching the show after the
After
fact
he
and
leaves,
commenting.
I'll be watching
Yeah.
it in bed though. I'll be
Yeah, but I
watching
was
it in
gonna
bed,
say,
though.
you know what? Before I was gonna say, Danny, before you, because I knew you were gonna find some way to sneak out of here
Exactly.
before things got good, and I think we should have an exception
before
tonight.
things get hood.
Hey,
I
at least
do.
y'all, at least
I
y'all know
think
me.
You can ask
At least y'all know
ask the
me.
missus. Just ask the missus.
At least
she'll
y'all
be like,
know
all right.
that I am consistent. Consistency is key. Okay.
I don't want to hear
and-
that
and-
bull crap,
But
bro.
I do think Morgan needs your support as one of your closest friends. I think he needs your support tonight.
Nah,
Really-
Morgan got it. Morgan got it. No,
Yeah,
but
bro,
I just want
I'm
before
good.
before
You gotta worry
before
about that.
everything pops off, I just want to hear everybody's 1 out of 10 review score,
Sheesh, I still ain't done that
and
yet.
one good thing about it and one bad thing about it. That's
I
that's
need
how I
to-
want to start.
That's a
And
good way to
then-
start it, though.
I
That's a
need
good
to
way
watch
start
it again before I can give it a 1 to 10, bro. I need
You
to
already
pay it 1
did.
to
Come
10.
on, man. Come on, dude.
I mean,
All
I'll
right,
try.
I'll go first. I'll go
But
first.
it might change.
Morgan. It's
It might
not,
I'll
change.
go first.
It's not the Holy Grail, dude. It's a movie.
It's
Go
a
ahead,
holy
Dan.
grail
Let
for
Danny
me.
go.
Jesus.
For me, I really loved the movie. I enjoyed it. Me and my entire family went. Me, my wife, all 3 of our daughters, and my son went. Olivia went to sleep, and I understand that because she's 6. She's 6, and the
Yeah.
movie is 2.5 hours long. But everybody else in my family gave the movie a 10 out of 10. I gave it an 8 out of 10, because, and y'all will understand. Y'all know me well enough. I think Shuri needed a training montage for her fight,
I wouldn't have been against it.
and
Yeah.
and those maybe I just don't like the Midnight Angel costumes. I don't think I really like them in the comics, but some of the practical
I didn't love that.
costumes look really kind of clunky to me. They look really Power Ranger me, and I know that's because they're about to get their Disney Plus shows. So those are probably the same ones that they'll be using in Disney Plus. But I was like, But other than that, the movie was fantastic. I give it an 8 out of 10.
You need to call Child Protective Services over there for them 10 out of 10s for those kids. 10 out of 10.
Live detail.
Yo, I
Live
quote
detail.
my son is 11. He came out of there and said this was the best Marvel movie I've ever seen. Unprovoked.
Let them know.
Unprovoked. DJ said it was the best Marvel movie he's ever seen, and he's seen all of them.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Hey, I ain't never gonna get mad when kids love Marvel stuff. I'm never gonna get mad.
It
My
probably helped
feelings
that
aside.
the young dude at the end, had the same hairstyle as him, so that was kind of cool. But
Yeah, that was cool, man.
We
That was
are.
cool. And the name of him too is really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So we're in spoiler country, obviously. For those who have not seen it, we would love for you to stay because it's getting ready to really turn up. I'm 100% sure of that. But we are in spoiler country, so if you've not seen it, either cover your ears or prepare because we probably are deep diving. So, Danny did his. Who wants to go next on their review? Like I'm gonna brace myself before it even happens. But who wants? I don't care who it is. I'm not going to. All right. Oh God. Let me turn my camera off. Let me turn my camera off.
Why y'all gotta be like that, man? Y'all need to have an open mind. Y'all need to allow this man to say his opinion.
That is so sad. That is so sad.
I'm ready to hear it. I'm ready to hear it. Javon, I want to hear yours
Goodbye,
next. I
I'm
want to
out.
hear your epiphany. I will.
So 7 out of 10. What I did love about it was absolutely amazing performances by the female cast.
Mm.
Absolutely amazing. Letitia and Angela Bassett, especially Angela,
Mm-hmm.
she has not won an Oscar. If this doesn't get her an Oscar, we're gonna have some issues.
Agreed.
Burn it all down.
Amazing performance.
Agreed.
Amazing performance by.
Hey man, y'all better get ready because I can see another like what did Chadwick do when last time he was just like that look back when
Yeah.
they ain't winning.
It's completely possible.
And the one thing I didn't like is that they did not recast T'Challa. We'll talk about that a little later. That just destroyed a lot for me.
I mean, didn't they though?
A lot.
Right. They kind of did. And I mean, well, go ahead.
They didn't. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Dang on, Javon. I want to hear your score.
Right,
and if your epiphany has something to do with this, I want to hear that too.
Okay, Jess. All right, Jesse.
All right, here we go. When I did my review on the on Facebook, I think I gave it an 8.5. I thought it was I'm with everybody. I thought it was amazing, well made. The direction was fantastic. Everybody's performances were on point. So I mean, I have to look at this as like the film buff in me, and I have to ignore the nerd in me. Like I have to look at it as a film buff, and in the film buff, I enjoyed the production. I think I enjoyed pretty much everything. What I liked about it, I loved the political aspects of it, like the relations between Wakanda and Talokan, as well as Wakanda in America, and just the interplay that was going on there. What I didn't like about it, we've already talked about it. I am not a fan of T'Challa's secret love child. It makes my head hurt.
His baby daddy. Yeah.
I'm not calling it baby daddy. My opinion on this is I think it's out of character for T'Challa, who in the first movie and in Civil War was well aware of the value of his relationship with his father. And in the first Black Panther, the whole plot of the movie is this is what happens when a young man doesn't grow up in Wakanda. And so for him to, because that's what Killmonger was like, he says it to his dad in the spirit with the what do you call it? The realm,
the
ancestral plane. Thank you. In the ancestral plane, he asks his dad, "Why did you not bring the boy home?" And his dad says, "He is the lie I chose. The omit a lie I chose to omit.
He's the truth I chose to omit.
Truth I chose to admit." And he said, "You were wrong. Like you failed him. Like and basically,
I'll wait.
Hold on, but bro was blipped for the last 5 years. How do you know he wasn't an active fighter?" Okay, once again, I'm only going off what what Nakia said. All right,
she said
Nakia said, time out.
Yes, she did.
Nakia said very specifically, T'Challa didn't want him to grow up in Wakanda to not have to deal with the pressures of the throne and the things that go along with it. And once again, I'm only going off what the movies say. I've decided I'm gonna, and this is part of my epiphany. The movies, every part of the movie, you never see him running from his responsibility. You never see him running from the throne. You never see him running from the responsibility of being a king. So why would he? T'Challa? Yeah, T'Challa. So why would he want that from his son, though?
But we saw what the pressures of being king made him do, though. We saw the anxiety.
Not only that,
but he still was the king. It was never like he never had a point where he was like, "I don't want this."
Exactly.
He said, "I'm gonna go back and get."
It's not that he didn't want him. It's not that he didn't want him to have it. He gave him his name. Obviously, he wants him to inherit it. Eventually, he doesn't want him to face the pressures of having to make those decisions as a small child.
Right.
And I'm saying
you
that he
realize-
wouldn't
you realize
have the
those are-
pressures
we
to
got
make
two-
the decisions as a
You
small
realize
got
you're
two
making
child.
other-
assumptions.
We got
He
two other
wouldn't
people that
have
need to
those
rate the
pressures.
movie.
You can't
We got two
become
other
king
people.
with hold on. You can't be you asked me. You can't become king without trial by combat. They're not gonna have a 6-year-old kid in combat. You
We don't
wouldn't
know
have
that.
like
Well, see, I think also one of T'Challa's fallacies in the first movie was that T'Challa was born, bred, and raised in Wakanda, right?
Mhm.
So he kind of had like rose-colored glasses when it came to his perception of the world, especially when he opened up the borders of Wakanda.
but he never opened up the borders of Wakanda.
What night
He did.
ordering
Yeah, at the end of
opening
the
up?
first
He
movie.
opened it up enough for the CIA to be like, "Where's your vibranium?"
T'Challa definitely opened it
You know
up
what I
at the end of the movie. If you don't remember
Yeah.
him being in front of the UN,
He
Yeah, when he
never
was at the
said he
UN.
okay, guys.
Well,
guys,
not even necessarily opening
he
up their
never
borders,
said
but just
that.
he
He
said
said
that
I would
they were
share
supposed
resources.
right. So and immediately they
How
go
you share
to
without opening up?
right, and they immediately go to
Really?
give us all of your vibranium. You know what I'm saying? So like
Mhm.
now you start to see the aftermath because T'Challa engaged on a global scale with the thought process that it was the noble thing to do because he was a noble guy. But unfortunately, the world's superpowers are not noble. They are built on exploiting people, especially African countries. And that's the reason why Wakanda has been able to sustain and become the superpower that it is because it was out of sight from white countries, quite frankly. And I do think that it's not too far-fetched, especially with the complicated relationship between T'Challa and Nakia. After, the first movie, I could
Right.
totally see them like hitting it off and doing like something for, old time's sake because she decided she was going to leave, right? She's like, I can't stay here. I want to go out into the world and help the other Black people in the world, which is why she went to Haiti, but then, maybe they're like, oh, for old time's sake, we're going to get it off one more time. Oops, I'm pregnant. So like
But
it
then-
happens.
but then
Like it
also,
happens.
You guys
also-
are
Black
adding
story,
story.
right?
You guys are adding
No.
backstory that
I
has not
wanna-
been
I wanna
told.
say-
You guys are.
It's a
wanna
lot of
say-
speculation.
But also,
it is all
but
speculation.
also,
I'm going off what
if-
is actually said.
And that's what you
okay,
have.
but if he asked her to stay in Wakanda, it would destroy her whole character too. If she said
Again,
if
you are speculating. I'm going off what.
how am I speculating? It was in the movie.
Well, yeah,
Well,
towards
she-
the end of the movie,
We
he
know her
definitely made
character.
it very
Her
clear.
character is to be out.
Yeah, he was like,
didn't
he was
open the
like
border, guys.
imploring her, like, please stay in Wakanda with me, like, please stay. But she was like, after what I've seen out there, my place is out there.
Right.
know what I'm
That's
saying?
fine.
and
So-
and he
I'm talking
he
about
made,
like
he made,
okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
he made a comment in their conversation after everything ended, and when she was talking about opening the border, it was in the same conversation that you're talking about. But and then she
Y'all keep saying open the borders.
he
They
said-
never
he-
open the borders, guys.
okay, okay,
when they expose themselves to the world, because for honestly,
Exposing
Wakanda was
yourself
pretty
to
much
the
a
world
secret.
is different.
But not even,
Right.
but not even that.
Wakanda wasn't a secret.
but
They
not even
knew
that.
existed.
They did open Javon. They did
It
open
was
the
a secret. They had a whole force field to hide
When
the
I'm
place.
hold
They
on.
did
When
open
I
the
say
border. Even Queen Ramunda in Wakanda Forever at the United Nations summit said, "We've opened our borders. What more do you want from us?" Right?
all right, if they said that, I'll take it back. I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Part.
they opened the border.
Thank you for taking
I'll
that
take
back.
that. But my point remains that I don't think T'Challa doesn't come off as an honorable enough man to have his son being raised by basically a single mother in an entirely different country. Like that, anything that you've seen about T'Challa.
But how do you
make
know
you
that
believe
T'Challa?
that.
But how do you know that
You're
that was
speculating.
solely? It could have
But
been
you're
Nakia's
speculating.
decision.
I'm not speculating. I'm
Thank you.
asking you what have you seen? What have you seen? Not
saw
what
that
you
he loved
theorize.
Nakia.
Yeah,
We saw
and
that he loved Nakia.
Nakia was the one
Okay.
who made the conscious decision to leave. So
And
if
she's
that's
the one
your
that's
son,
there with
I'm
the
not
child.
disagreeing, but she wasn't pregnant there, so like that don't
Well, I
matter.
think
Whether
we have-
she left then, it wasn't.
She had
wasn't
the
pregnant.
baby
We
during the
don't- we
bliss.
don't
Said
know whether
6
she was
years.
pregnant
The
or
child
not.
is 6 years old.
T'Challa was gone for 5 years, so she
I
raised.
understand that, but the child is 6 years old. You could literally, you could do the math. Like she came back. Clearly, she came back at some point, or they met up at some point. Do
Did
the
they
math.
say how old the child was?
They did not.
That's what Chauna
Did
said.
we,
She
have,
said
did
they
we
might
see
have.
them have sex?
That could
We
have been
didn't
after
see-
that mission.
The king having
in
premarital
Korea.
sex.
Oh
Yeah,
God!
but you see
Wait,
the problem.
no,
with
I don't
this-
care about him having
problem-
premarital
the
sex.
problem
I'm
with
just talking
this-
about
Just saying.
timeline.
The problem with this is Javon, my
I just
issue
don't
that I'm taking up with you is you're more focused on the character basic rather than what that looks like on us as a community, right? That's a typical black stereotypical trope of
What?
a black man having a baby out of wedlock, right?
He
So
died.
Iron Man, hold on, I'm getting to a point. Iron Man gets married in the MCU, he has a child. Scott Lang gets married in the MCU, he has a child, right? Thor saves a girl's parent, promises he'll take care of her, and
Murder her father.
and he adopts. Still going here.
Murdered her father. Sure.
And
He
he
didn't
adopts,
murder the father.
and he
He didn't
adopts,
murder him.
right?
He tried
He
to.
just
several
died.
times.
Bruce Banner goes all Hulk, goes to Sakaar, has a child. Then when he finds out about it, immediately goes to get the kid. The one black superhero we have, we're sold a
He died,
story
Tyler.
that he had an illegitimate child. That's
He
my
died,
issue,
Tyler.
the storyline.
He died.
And somebody just said he's illegitimate. Let's be honest, T'Challa Jr. is a bastard by all accounts.
How so?
Okay, so
Kia
number
and
one, we don't know
Kia
that.
and T'Challa were not married.
We don't know that. We do not know whether or
Okay,
not they're
here's
married
the
or
thing,
not.
though. Here's the
There's
thing,
no way to
Morgan.
know that.
Morgan,
Okay,
though.
That's lazy writing.
Morgan. You keep saying we don't know that.
Exactly.
And I'm right there with you. We don't know, but we also weren't told it. So we can only
There's a
go
reason
off
for
the
that.
information.
There's a
Okay.
reason for that.
What's the reason?
It's not. Y'all realize this was the end credit scene.
She could have held up a ring and said, "Before he passed, we got married."
That wasn't the decision they made. Why? Because it's not written the way you want it to be. It's a problem.
That's lazy writing.
Did you say that about Bruce? Did you say that about Bruce?
Can I say this though?
We
That
know
would've
in the
been lazy
comic.
writing.
In the comic, Bruce Banner was
You don't
married
think this
to
was
that woman
lazy
and they had
writing
a
either?
kid.
You don't
In
think
the
this was
comic.
lazy writing?
Can you
I
answer
mean,
this question?
to an
Y'all are the
extent,
comic.
yeah.
Y'all
Oh,
are
I'm
the comic.
sorry.
Y'all are the comic aficionados. In the comics,
No.
was Bruce Banner married?
Can
to
I have
that
my
woman before
epiphany?
they had
Can
that
I talk
kid?
about my epiphany? Can I talk about my epiphany?
I need to hear.
And then
I
I
need
want
to hear
Chauna
the
to.
tips.
I'm
already
gonna
10
let
minutes
you
over.
talk. I need to say the epiphany because he gave me the
I'm
lead
here
in
representing
for
the
it.
black
Thank you,
culture.
Brandon.
This is my epiphany, right? My epiphany is that I have come to the conclusion. It took me 40 years to do this. That the source material doesn't matter when it comes to these multimedia things. It doesn't matter. So hold on, because this movie has proven to me that the source material doesn't matter. Because every time I challenge it and say, "Well, that's not how T'Challa would work," or this in the books he did, people be like, "Well, that's the MCU. That's not the comic book." So I'm like, okay. So the source material doesn't matter. So it does not matter what you do with these characters. It doesn't matter. You could have Spider-Man swinging in stilettos with with streamers as web shooters, and I'm just saying, like,
There's a
it
lot of
doesn't
fine
matter.
people out there.
Every time somebody says, "Well, in the
Javon.
comic books," people want to be like, "Nah."
Javon,
So
there's
bet.
been 30
So
movies.
I'm just saying, all I'm saying is that I'm good with that. I'm gonna keep that same energy. It doesn't matter. But I swear for God, if I hear any one of y'all go, "Well, in the comic books," I'm gonna be like, "Nope, doesn't matter. I don't want to hear it."
Okay, Javon,
That's
I'm
all I
sorry
want to
that it
say.
took
That's
you
my epiphany.
That was your
It took me-
epiphany?
I'm
That's
sorry
my
it took
epiphany.
you 35
epiphany.
movies that weren't
Because I
comic book
keep-
accurate to realize.
No,
that
I'm
they
not
weren't gonna
talking
be
about the
based on
stories, though. I'm not talking about the stories. I'm talking about the character. I'm talking about the character.
You're stuck on it.
Javon, there's 50 versions
I don't
of
know what-
T'Challa.
You
I-
keep
I-
saying there's
I-
50
Oh.
versions. There's not 50 versions. There's one character that has evolved throughout history.
Written by
Yes, there
different writers.
might be a what? Yeah, that doesn't matter. They all taking the same template and riding with it.
Okay, how many times did T'Challa kill Killmonger in the comics?
Never.
Never.
I mean, I think
in the
I think at
first
the-
movie, he killed that man. He murdered that man
I
in
understand
the first
that. Once
movie.
again, I'm talking
So how do you
about the
expect him to
character. I'm
be-
not talking about the story. You're not listening to me. I'm talking about the
Okay,
character.
killing
but
somebody
even
is
in
part of your
terms of like
character.
the character, like Chadwick
T'Challa has
Boseman
never had a
died.
problem with killing people. T'Challa has never had a problem with that.
Right.
Go ahead, Shauna.
I mean, I think I don't think that the general public has really extended enough grace to the director and the cast and all these people who knew and loved Chadwick Boseman, who was a real person, who went to a HBCU, graduated from Howard University, went to Howard with Michael B. Jordan, and like what that means for them to have to experience that loss and then to go and film a second movie with a whole new dude, you know, who will never be able to fill Chadwick Boseman's shoes. Like,
How do we know that?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't
And
know.
We
I don't
don't
know.
Because
and not
I
for
don't know.
nothing,
We don't know. know.
I think that Marvel movies have like throughout all these 30 some odd movies, they have tried to like be flexible while still kind of being canon in a sense.
Mhm.
So I think that they tried to set the stage. I think that they did their best to set the stage to recast T'Challa, but also paying homage to the point in the series where Shuri takes the mantle in T'Challa's absence, right?
Mhm.
And I'm all for the recasting and everything, and I'm all for that. But what does it mean when we can't accept a Black Panther movie where there is no strong male lead, right? And are we able to like reconcile that and why is it such an issue that T'Challa wasn't recast right now? You know what I'm saying? Like not period, but right now. And really like, and I think that quite frankly, Chadwick Boseman himself would have very much like signed off on like, yeah, let the Black women have their time to shine. Like
100%.
real talk. I think that that's who he
I
was.
had my hand up first.
Wait. Before I get to y'all's hands,
Devon had my hand up first.
Kenny had it. Kenny has a great point.
That's the question that I'm gonna.
Danny did have his hand up first.
Yeah, let
This
Danny
is- this is
respond.
the question I'm
This
gonna
is a
ask.
great point right here.
Yeah,
I
this
just
is
want to point that out.
what I'm saying. He said that he was the Prince of Wakanda. Can that claim be legitimate if there's no union? In the first movie, every one of those tribes had a claim to the throne, right? When they did the challenge, they went to every part of the tribe and they said there was no challenge. Those were part of the royal bloodline, right? Nakia was the one who was going to challenge. They said the what was it? The merchant tribe.
She's from
There
the
would be
water
no
tribe.
challenge, right?
Mhm.
She was one of those people who was going to challenge for the throne.
Right.
So,
She could have.
yes, it can be. Yes, it can be legitimate. Number two. Dang, I forgot what the other one was that I was going to say. Oh,
Okay.
the other thing about young T'Challa is that young T'Challa can do things that Chadwick Boseman T'Challa was not going to be able to do. They were not going to be able to have 48-year-old Chadwick Boseman T'Challa do Namor, fall in love with
That
Storm.
is not true, and that's an assumption. And that's
And I got some bones to pick with Namor too, but we
That
can
is
get
not
back into
true.
that in a minute.
And after you're done,
introduce
Danny, I want to respond to Chauna. But that is not true. Iron Man was Robert Downey Jr. was way older than Chadwick Boseman. Bruce Banner, the actor, I forgot his name. He's older. That is not a true statement.
A CGI character. Come on now. So they
so
how they gonna introduce?
How old is Keanu Reeves?
How are they gonna introduce?
How old is Keanu Reeves?
Probably.
They're gonna introduce the mutants and a brand new Storm.
Morgan, you don't know that's already an established team after King the Conqueror, man. That's a horrible take on what on not recasting T'Challa. That is a horrible take, bro. As a writer,
I'm just saying. No, I'm not saying that as a take. I'm saying that as a young T'Challa, now we have the opportunity to have T'Challa around for 15, 20 years, whereas Chadwick Boseman T'Challa, who was already 40-something years old. I think there's more possibilities with a young T'Challa than there was with an old T'Challa. That's all I'm saying.
Go ahead, Javon.
I also think that his character demanded a bit more physical labor too. Like Chadwick Boseman was trained in capoeira, you know what I'm saying, and was using his capoeira skill set in his films. He was doing a lot of his own stunts.
Iron Man sitting behind the screen like this.
where like Iron Man is like he's a man in a suit. Like to your point, Iron Man and Bruce Banner, they're mostly CGI in terms of like what's happening with them. I got a bone to pick with Namor, and I had this conversation with.
Can I respond to your take before really quick though, Chauna?
Yes.
Before you move to Namor. So my problem with what you said and what we're seeing online as it relates to people who wanted to recast T'Challa in this sequel is why are you not accepting of the black women of power and this and that? Number one, that they were the most, everyone is giving them their props. Like they did the acting and the way they did in this movie was a 10 out of 10, right? So these things can be mutually exclusive, right? So just because we want T'Challa recast, because number one, he's Black Panther, and Shuri didn't step into that role until 2009, right? Shuri didn't step into the role of Black Panther in 2009. You have over 50 years of content prior to this. There would never be. There has never been, and there will never be a white superhero who is missing from their own sequel. It won't happen. There wouldn't. We've seen people. I keep saying this, and I said it to y'all. We've seen people recast it for less. Listen, we all understand the grieving process. We all understand this was a huge hit for our community. But I just watched a video, an interview with Chadwick Boseman's brother, of how important Black Panther is to our society. We've got about 10 different white superheroes on the big screen right now. Give me another black one to the level of Black Panther that we have. The character is way more important than the actor. The character is going to outlive us all.
But that we do have a Black Panther though. Like Black Panther is a title. It's not one like T'Chaka was Black Panther. T'Chaka was Black Panther before T'Challa was Black Panther.
Black Panther is a title, then we need to reduce every other mantle as a title. That means Superman is a title. That means Batman is a title. That means Iron Man is a title.
It's literally written in the lore. But it's literally written in the lore that it's passed down. Like Black Panther is not immortal.
You can't compare Superman.
You know what I'm saying?
To
like
Black
he's
Panther.
not immortal. Black Panther lives he's got human strength and all this other stuff, but he is not immortal. Eventually the Black Panther will die, and they have to bring another Black Panther, hence the whole challenge.
Other characters who got their trilogies.
I will say this.
Yeah, but they didn't die in real life in the midst of filming the sequel.
Right. But the actor and the character are separate. That's the problem with all this.
That's true, but the rest of the cast isn't a machine.
Never would be a Peter Parker Jr. I'll leave it like that.
Can I just?
But there's a Miles Morales.
I've been letting Javon. Okay, I'm gonna let Javon go, and then I'm gonna say the same point that I've said in the past conversation.
Go ahead,
Miles is bigger than T'Challa.
No, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Miles is bigger than T'Challa.
When I say what I want to say, I want everybody to felt like they said what they wanted to say. So go ahead.
It's not like the conversation is going to stop once you do. So
just I know. I'm just saying you haven't had an opportunity to talk, so I'm giving you an opportunity to talk.
It's it feels like there's this overarching narrative that Black Panther is not complete without a T'Challa in it. And that is kind of what bugs me about it a little bit, because
it's not until we were able to see his story play out, right? So Iron Man got a trilogy and 6 other movies. We saw that story play out. Now, Riri Williams came.
Well, Robert Downey Jr. has been around for like a decade to play Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been around this whole time. Literally rebuilt his career off the strength of playing this character. Like Robert Downey Jr. was not in a good place when he first got cast.
All right, I'm gonna talk. All right, I want to talk.
Go ahead, Javon, and I'll go after this.
Okay. You, Chauna, you made a point about why can't a woman come in and do the Black Panther thing as well. I actually don't have a problem with Shuri becoming Black Panther eventually. Mm-hmm. Like I don't have a problem with that. My issue is when it comes to Black superheroes on the small screen and the large screen, they usually fall within one type of stereotype, like former gang member, or and that's funny, somebody pointed this out, like government suck up, right?
And male.
and male. Absolutely.
Male.
Right. I'm not disputing that. My point is, why do we have to lose one for what? Why do black male characters have to lose one for black female characters to gain one?
I agree, and I think I do agree with you
because we are losing one.
I do agree with you that there should have been more of a training arc.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Chauna's answering my question. Go ahead.
I do agree that there should have been more of a training arc for Shuri's like fighting skills and stuff. To me, like that was my biggest complaint, was that the movie wasn't complete enough. But it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. Like any more, it would have been over 3 hours. So they trying to do what they can with what they've got. And I don't think that we really appreciate and understand that there has never been a sudden
Rachel
loss.
wasn't wrong. Rachel wasn't wrong.
Between DC and Marvel, neither one of them has ever experienced a sudden cinematic loss like this.
I respect that.
You had you had Tony Stark's character, Robert Downey Jr., where he was able to evolve the character, and like pretty much the character died before, like with Robert Downey Jr., like legit. And then you had Bruce Banner, you had Christopher Reeves as Superman, who like had his run. You had Alan West as Batman doing his run. We've never been in a situation where we've had a hero so profound and so influential in our lives come into our lives, like fuck shit up, and then just up and die of cancer out of nowhere.
And
like
I understand that, and I understand
that nobody knew about previously, including including everybody on the cast, nobody at Marvel.
And then when he did show signs of being sick, everybody accused him of being a drug addict, which is a whole other conversation. Just totally like disgrace this man.
This is separate from my point, okay? And I hear what you're saying, but my point is, and I've said this in Tyler mentioned this before, that the character is larger than Chadwick. And I know a lot of people don't want to believe that, because there are a lot of people that have kind of, they have an emotional attachment to Chadwick as a person, right? And it's tied to the character because it was pretty much the last character they saw him play. Now I know he had another film that was after that, but very few people probably even knew that was happening. Was it more than one, or no? It was two. It was 22 Bridges or whatever, and then the other one on Netflix. But that was like that was his coming out party, because that was supposed to be his, his big moment where he, became bigger.
Right.
But
and I do think he should be recast. Like I do agree with you that the character is bigger than, than the character is bigger than any one person.
Okay, so go with me on that, right? You agree that he needs to be recast, right? Everybody else, Morgan included, has been like, he's going to be recast. He's going to be recast. And I'm like, okay, but if you agree that he should be recast, and then why is it a big deal? Why do you have an issue? And I don't know, I'm not necessarily saying you, Chauna, but everybody else who seems to have an issue with him being recast immediately.
Come on, Pastor.
And then the reason why I'm saying this is because the role of T'Challa could be looked at as just as big as James Bond or Superman, Clark Kent, Batman. We've had so many different variations of it, and I remember around the time where they announced they were going to do the Black Panther movie, somebody said it's kind of weird that we seem to believe that there's not another black man on this planet, not another black actor on this planet that can play the role of T'Challa as good as Chadwick Boseman.
That's not. I don't think that that's the case at all. I think.
Hold on. Yeah, but when you're hold on. Wait. Hold on. No, because even actors like what's his name, M'Baku, Duke Winston, right? That's his name.
Yeah,
Winston Duke. He was like, that role belongs to Chadwick and everything like that.
Right.
And I'm saying, and my point is, we should allow this role to continue and allow another worthy black actor to have the opportunity to play him, not 10 years from now, not 15 years from now, right now.
But the funny thing is, you bring up James Bond and you bring up all these other iconic characters who've been recast over the years, but that's often the amount of time that's between them being recast. Like it's a
not
good
no
5-10 years.
Go look at the time frame between James Bond movies. It ain't long.
It ain't long.
Yeah, but
it ain't long.
They like even with James Bond, like you have like the same dude who will play like Pierce Brosnan playing 007.
Bro, I can think of 3 actors. I can think of 3 actors off the top.
Everybody
of my head.
can. Apparently, David, you don't think there's
capable
black men out there.
Come on, dude.
That's not it. I just don't think.
David said that. David said you play. And the worst part about all this, I just don't think that
any of these other franchises have had the pressure of recasting someone in less than 5 years.
Bro,
like I don't think
come on, man.
I don't think that same pressure has necessarily been applied. And yes, are there hordes of other black men who could possibly potentially fill this role? Absolutely. But they still gotta acclimate that person to the role. And I think that because of the canon with Shuri temporarily taking up the mantle, they use this as an opportunity, to be like, hey, all right, so we're gonna just, instead of holding up the filming of the sequel, we're going to use this as an opportunity for Shuri to take up the mantle, and we're going to set the stage to recast him in Black Panther 3.
But he's not being recast. It's a different character.
No, that's a good
it
point.
Is a different character. Calling him T'Challa Jr. doesn't make him the same character. That's like saying my son is the same person as me.
Exactly.
Okay, so you would rather it just be some random dude, and then we're like, oh, so how would you have had him incorporated when they literally acknowledged death? They acknowledged T'Challa's death in the film. So like, are we going to have a T'Challa from another universe?
Exactly how T'Challa, exactly how Chadwick Boseman died in the movie. They could have introduced. I can tell you this. I said this before, and I'll say it again on the show. They could have introduced him in any of the Disney Plus shows. They could have had him cameo in any of those shows. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He could have been the new T'Challa could have easily been the one to give Sam his costume. That would have given people an opportunity to get used to the idea that this actor is the new Black Panther. They could have put him in the Illuminati. They could have had him cameo in the Illuminati as Black Panther, as one of the variants, so that people get used to the idea. The only reason this decision was made was out of grief, and I understand that as a human being. Like, I understand it as a human being, but my point is, and I know Morgan's definitely not gonna like this. He's gonna turn his camera off for this. But if it affected Coogler that much, then he could have stepped aside and gave another talented Black director an opportunity to do it and give their vision. Because once again, it is really weird that we seem to believe that there's only one individual that can do these tasks in this planet.
I don't think that's it at all. I think that a lot of people are having trouble grappling with a film that showcases the Black experience where a Black man isn't at the center of a story.
That's not true. But you see, I feel like you're making it almost a misogynistic thing. And the thing is, it's not. It's not a misogynistic thing. That's like if I wanted to go to see Batman, if I'm a Bruce Wayne fan and I want to go see a Batman, you understand what I'm saying?
I mean, but it's still, you still got, I mean, I understand. I think part of it is also that, but I think part of it is also the fact that like
grief was the reason he wasn't recast.
Oh, no.
He said no, grief was not the only reason to make him younger. Grief was the reason that the whole making him younger thing was a way for them to have their cake, eat it too, and have a nice little moment that everybody can go, "Aw," and it doesn't make any damn sense. And I make the point why it doesn't make damn sense. Exactly. I mean, honestly, like Morgan can now come and go, see, they're recasting. It's not recasting. They're making a new character.
I anticipated them bringing T'Challa from another universe. That was what I foresaw.
Everyone did.
That's my point. Why do we have to jump through all these damn hoops when you can just recast? You know how they recast Rhodey and Iron Man? Don Cheadle walked in the door and said, "It's me. I'm here. Deal with it." And
Deal
they
with
kept the movie going.
Yeah, but he's also not the central character of the film.
But we can't add stipulations on as we see fit. You know what I
And
mean?
it's like turning light-skinned Viv in the dark-skinned Viv isn't the same thing as turning dark-skinned Viv in the light-skinned Viv, if you understand what I'm saying.
That's true.
Nobody had a
And
problem when they
Terrence Howard
recast
was
Bruce
like-
Banner. They
And Terrence
recast
Howard-
Bruce Banner.
And Terrence Howard went out kicking and screaming. You know what I'm saying?
did.
Like he was like, "Give me more money," and they were like, "Oh, that's how you feel." You know,
I
not
understand
to
the
say that he-
reasoning behind it. I'm
so
just
we
making
saw-
the
so we
point
see
that
they-
when they
they
recast
recast
it, they didn't.
Hold on. Then that's proof that they recast it for far less than death, right? So for me, a recast
Right.
death should be something that definitely
I didn't want
incites
to do this.
a recast. Go ahead, Morgan.
So, as I've said in the thread, and I'm going to restate it here, this entire issue and this entire conversation comes down to the fact that you guys are upset that they did not recast him right now. That's what
No,
this whole
I'm not
conversation-
upset. I told you I'm
Yes,
not
you are.
upset
I'll let you
anymore.
talk.
I'm not upset
I'll let-
anymore. But I'm telling you, I'm not upset. I'm just saying that
Okay,
it
you
doesn't
were
make
upset.
sense.
You seem upset.
I was
were
upset.
upset.
I was upset.
Okay, you were previously upset, and now
I
you
was
found a
upset.
new
But what did
peace.
I say? I said it's done. The movie's done. It's over. But if you try
we're
to
still talking
explain to
about it
me,
tonight.
hold on. But I'm talking about logic. Like that's all I'm talking about. What makes sense and
I
what
agree,
doesn't make
Brandon.
sense. Listen, the entire MCU has been recast younger, but if T'Challa was here, alive, and healthy, they would have not made Shuri Black Panther. He
Of
would
course,
be
not
doing his
right
trilogy.
now.
Not
So
in
then-
this movie.
then-
No, of course they
Not in
wouldn't
this
have.
movie.
Justin,
but
I'm not in my
every
feelings,
Thank you,
man. I'm just
Justin.
having a
Thank you,
conversation.
Justin. Thank you, Justin.
Justin,
This
I don't know
entire
who you are,
conversation-
but you don't know
this
me.
is-
Trust me.
I'm gonna-
If I
I'm
was in
gonna
my
give you-
feelings, you know. You
and
know.
that is
I'm
how
not in
we
my
know,
feelings. I have
and that
no
is how
idea
we
who
know
you
that
are.
I told the truth shows ago, because Justin
What
doesn't
was-
know you, and he still came to the same conclusion that I told you months ago.
What
Yeah,
are you
this-
talking about?
seen
This
all of
entire
Justin's comments?
argument,
Justin's
this
not
entire
reliable.
argument is about your
He doesn't
feelings.
care about T'Challa.
This
This entire argument is about your feelings. It's about
and feelings
about
had
your
nothing
feelings,
and
and
feelings
Tyler-
had
and
nothing to
Tyler-
do with what they chose to do.
What?
Did feelings have anything to do with what they chose to do?
Yes,
The
it did.
decisions
But
that-
you don't have
okay,
any
so
control
why
over
does
it.
it matter if my feelings are in
Because
it
you
too?
don't have
But
control.
you're in your
You're
feelings
not
as
the
well,
producer.
Morgan.
So
for the
they can be
director.
in their
I'm not
feelings
saying
and I can't be in my feelings?
Wait
Okay,
a minute.
cool.
I mean, you
This-
can be, but you don't have
You-
creative control over the movie.
That's
That is
fine.
the point I made this
But I
entire
just
time.
said that I'm okay with it. I
So-
literally
so-
just said that
wait a
I'm
minute.
okay with it.
All I've been telling
But you can't. But you guys, many
No,
of
you're
you seem to.
You're backtracking. One thing about me, I'm standing 10 toes down.
as you should.
I'm not
As you should.
backtracking. No.
You are
Time out.
backtracking.
Time
You are
out.
backtracking.
Time
As
out.
you should, but
I'm not
I'm gonna
backtracking.
finish in a minute. I'm gonna let y'all go
Okay.
since you interrupted. I'm gonna let you go though, and then I'm
You
gonna come back
interrupted
to
me,
it.
bro.
Let me finish.
I
this
didn't.
point.
When did I interrupt you earlier?
Bro, you said no. Hold on. This is what I
Donna,
said in
you
the
were
thread.
here,
That's
right?
what you did.
Did you
And
hear
I'm
me
gonna go on
interrupt
mute.
them?
Let me finish this point. I'm gonna go on mute. My problem with this is the comfortability of the Black community. First of all,
Thank you, Jason.
we're always limiting ourselves. We do it to
Thank you,
ourselves.
Jason.
My point of
So it's about money.
It's partially. Go ahead,
It's
Tyler.
always it's Disney. It's always a little bit about
They
money.
are wild. They just doing
I'm
this.
sorry.
They're
You
just
were-
doing this.
I didn't say that. He said it.
Go to Twitter and type up recast T'Challa and see how that has taken off in the past 4 or 5
All right,
days.
let me go real quick. Let me finish going. As I
Okay,
said,
30 million.
this-
That's nothing compared to the billion that the first
this-
one made. This movie
this
was always
entire-
going to run at a loss.
they didn't make $1 billion in a weekend. They didn't make $1 billion in a
billion off of
weekend.
this one.
They will. They will definitely make $1 billion. But let me finish. Let me finish. As I said, this whole conversation, the whole recast conversation, is the reason I said this is the last time I'm talking about it. This is the last time I'm talking about it. This entire conversation is over feelings, right? It's over feelings on their side because they have creative control as a company that's producing the film to choose what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. And you
Duh.
don't have any say in that, right?
Duh.
All right, great.
What do you mean?
Right.
Wait, no. Time out. I
So
don't
you're
have
not
any
going to let me
say in
finish.
what.
You're just going to keep interrupting.
Well,
Let him
you're
finish.
saying
Let him
something
finish.
wrong. So
They also had to take
correct
into
me. I'm
account-
sorry.
Also, they had to take into account like our feelings don't really matter as much as the feelings of the cast and all the, like, you can't just up and replace the whole cast. You know what I'm saying? So like, if the cast ain't cool with it at this point in time, or if they're gonna have a harder time adjusting and not acknowledging the reality of what they've endured over the last couple of years, then the movie may not have hit the same because they're not as invested in it.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Or the entire movie will be recast altogether because they refused because they will refuse to do the movie.
Right. They were
That's
refusing to
also
do the
an
movie. And then it wouldn't have hit the same.
Been able to refuse to do the movie. Guys, let's be
That's
reasonable.
Marvel can hold a gun to their head to make them do something they choose not to
They're
do.
under contract.
People break contracts every day, B.
No one is going up against Disney on a contract for breaking their contract because a cast member died. Like, guys, come on, let's be real.
No one person would do that, but as a collective, they might.
You're telling me that Feige could force them to do the film?
Disney would be able to. They're under
contract.
Why
would you want them? Why would you want that for them?
Exactly.
Like, why would you want that for them?
Urias just said it. Money.
Give me a second. As I said,
you have to weigh the options. Like, you can't just force them to put out a product and then that product is shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want it to be a good product and a good film.
I made this point before. This is about feelings. It is about it's about fandom. It's about all of that stuff. I will go back to the fact that Javon disagreed with before. And again, we've had this conversation 7 times. It's the same arguments. I have made the case plenty of times that the majority of people that went to go see the first Black Panther that made that movie make over $1 billion have no idea who T'Challa is. They don't need to.
You are wrong.
No, I'm not.
You are so wrong.
You think they made $1 billion off of
you keep saying it. It's the
you
it,
think
it
they made
gets
$1
dumber
billion
every time you
there
say
are
it.
mad people that went to go see that movie and have no idea who T'Challa is.
You understand that? Hold on.
I think you had.
Oh my God.
You probably had like a third to half of the people. You probably had like a third to half of the people who are like super fans and like really into the lore and shit like that. Yep. But I do agree, a film doesn't make $1 billion without it like filtering through to the mainstream. It's like Jay-Z, right? Like, Jay-Z didn't become the richest rapper alive because only hip hop heads listen to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is someone and an artist who resonates with people from all walks of life. Everybody be bopping, everybody, like, people who shouldn't be saying niggas in Paris are saying niggas in Paris. So like, that's why Jay-Z is so popular and why Kanye became so popular. It's because they transcended their community, right? They transcended their fan base.
That film made that money because it became a phenomenon.
Can I say this?
Sure.
You
say it.
You can't say they don't know who T'Challa is when they went to go see the movie, and I'm going to tell you why. Because that wasn't the first time we saw T'Challa. Black Panther. It's not like Black Panther came out and it was an unknown and we had no idea.
They introduced
Black Panther. Not only was Black Panther has been in cartoons. Black Panther has been a consistent.
The kids know him. For sure, but I do agree with you, Javon, that he was introduced. He was introduced in what? Infinity War.
He was in Civil War, and when he showed up on the screen, everybody was like, "Oh snap!" I was in the movie theater. I was too. People was excited when the movie was over. Okay,
comic heads were.
You think only comic book people were excited? When
Black Panther
showed up on the screen.
When I went to go see Split,
you really gonna say
when I went to go see the movie Split, right? When I went to go see that movie, it was a great movie, right? At the end of the movie, when they revealed Bruce Willis sitting in that diner, I had seen Unbreakable before, but I didn't realize who that was until the people around me.
I'm talking about at the end. I'm talking about at the end of the movie when the movie was over. People were excited to hear that this character, Black Panther, was going to be made their own movie. That's the point I'm trying to make. You keep saying nobody knew who T'Challa was. I'm pretty sure that by the time Civil War was over, until the time they got to Black Panther, way more people knew who T'Challa was by the time they got there.
I agree that people know who T'Challa is. I think that who they see him as is primarily defined by the films and not.
That's fine. That's fine. But
But
this the idea that he keeps
So by
saying
that
is
point,
that
we could have
nobody knew who
T'Challa in the
T'Challa
film
was.
moving forward. By that point,
I'm trying
your
to tell
point,
you
Shauna,
that people's fandom of T'Challa and their knowledge of him did not drive them to go see Black Panther.
But that-
they went
you-
to go see Black Panther because of what everybody else was doing, and they wanted to be a part of it.
That's not
They
true.
made it off of casual fans, as
true.
Shauna said, mainstream. They needed. You don't make $1 billion on a film just based off of some character that's in a. When was Black Panther ever a top 5 Marvel comic ever at any point?
I was told the comic books don't matter, so I'm just going to say
Well,
that
I
to
think
you.
it's a both
That's
and.
MCU is
No,
this
no,
thing.
it's-
This is this
it's
thing.
a
It doesn't
both
matter
and.
if it was a top 5 seller.
I'm about to
He's
look it up.
literally
Give me a
a
second. I'm gonna look
legendary.
it up.
He's
a both-
literally a
1 minute.
character that has
Give me a minute.
existed
1
before
minute.
any of us were born. Any of us.
No,
were
I
born.
agree. I think part of it is.
Y'all act like this dude was just around. They made the movie for a reason.
and do we not?
No,
like,
I agree. Part of
it's almost like so. Morgan, your whole point is full of contradictions, right? So
Okay.
So number one, to say as a black man, for us to sit up here and say that Black Panther wasn't popular before his movie or didn't really matter for before his movie is very limiting. It's you did say that. You did say that. You did say that. You did say that.
I 100% did not say that.
It's very limiting. So for me, Black Panther is up on par. We even had this conversation. You said this wasn't the case. One of you guys. For me, Black Panther is on par with Spider-Man, Superman, and Batman. Right? So that's how I'm coming to. And then here's the big. See, you're a black man saying
in the
this.
comic. I will say this: in the comic book world, absolutely, I put Black Panther. Like me as a fan, I put Black Panther personally up there. But in terms of like him, but prior to the movie, right? Prior to his introduction to the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
he didn't get the chance because he died.
He was the most recognizable character in the world, if I'm not mistaken, is Spider-Man. Like, no matter, you could go to the middle of fucking nowhere in Thailand and show them a picture of Spider-Man and they know who that motherfucker is, right? But prior to Black Panther being introduced to the cinematic universe specifically, that may not have been the case, right? Where now it is.
Now it will never be the case.
Now it is.
Now it will never be the case because we didn't get a chance to explore that. You said, Danny, Morgan, you said this was all about feelings. And I'll say that's a contradiction. It's all about feelings on your side. He wasn't recasted. No. He wasn't recasted due to feelings. Grief is a feeling. Mourning is a feeling. On our side, we're talking about logical thinking why he should have been recast. Him not being recast was an emotional feeling, right? All y'all are in y'all's feeling.
I think him being I think both sides are emotional, and actually, I think both sides are emotionally
more on this side is logic based. We care about the character and what it means to the black community to have a rich and powerful black man in
and I don't
the mainstream.
And I don't.
And you don't.
No, that's false. How many times I went to go see Black Panther 4 times in this opening weekend because of what it meant to the culture. There's never going to be a question of me trying to support blackness ever. There's nobody that knows me or follows me on social media that doesn't know that if it's something for our people, I'm going to support it. That's period. My point, what I was explaining to you is that this entire conversation about recast, don't recast, is caught in feelings on both sides. My point to you was that what we agreed to, and I said it in our thread privately, which is why I'm saying it also now. This entire conversation we're having right now is because you and Javon are upset that he has not been recast right now. We all agreed he was going to be recast. Most of us thought it was going to happen through the multiverse since we're in the multiverse. But that's not the way they chose to go. The point is, we didn't know that before the film. But the point of this conversation between us is that we all agreed he was going to be recast. All of us. Some of us aren't worried about it because we're going to support the film regardless. Javon said, I'm going to go support the film, but I'm not happy about it. I can't be excited.
Actually, what I said, no. I want you to get what I said correctly. Don't put words in my mouth. What I said was that I'm going to support it, but my enthusiasm for it is lessened. I didn't say I wasn't excited about it. I just said it's lessened because again, I'm speaking as somebody, and this is the part where I will say I'm in my feelings, if that's what we want to call it, because everybody's in their damn feelings.
I mean, enthusiasm is
it's really
a feeling.
But I mean, this is really dumb. Like, oh, he's in his feelings. Like, we're all in our feelings. It's kind
That's what I'm saying. That is the point.
Okay, but
both
anyway,
sides of this argument were emotional.
hold on. Hold on. No. But my point about all this isn't really feelings. It's more like if Marvel had just come out and said, we want to do Shuri, we're done with T'Challa, we're moving on, I would have been like, okay. But everybody keeps saying let me finish. What everybody keeps saying to me is, well, he's going to be recast eventually. He's going to be recast eventually.
You said it too. Did you not say it?
Listen. But what my point be, I never said he wasn't going to be recast, but but the point is, I'm saying recast him now for this movie that already happened. And this is the conversation. Exactly this is the conversations we had before.
That's exactly
I'm saying
what I just said.
Recast it now, because once again, you brought up the whole multiverse crap. And I'm saying, if you're willing to jump through so many damn hoops to recast the character, once again, you could literally, I promise you, I could direct the scene. You could just, the beginning of the movie could have been him walking into the throne room, and then boom, that's the new T'Challa, and you move on with the film. That's the point. You just keep going. If you really don't believe that the audience is going to keep up with you, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, my goodness.
I mean, I think that we're too far fixated on T'Challa. Like, I get it.
Because that's who the Black Panther is. I know y'all want to say Shuri, but that's not who Shuri's not the Black Panther.
Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales.
I've had this argument before. Miles ain't Spider-Man. Miles is the Black Spider-Man.
He's one of the Spider-Men.
He's
when he's not the Black Spider-Man. There's actually more than one Black Spider-Man, because you got Punk Spider-Man who's black. But
and you see how you put all these little adjectives in front of them? That's how they know. That's how they're not.
In our own community.
If you put an adjective in front of something,
what did you say? Right there. Anytime,
I'm not there. That's not my argument. My argument is if
the movie doesn't center black cishet men, then it's no longer black.
Huh?
So check it out. I got I just want to drop my theory real quick with you guys.
Drop your theory. What's up? How you doing?
Oh, what's up? See, you're the only person in here I've met before. So the thing, what I think, the thing that I think people miss is that when you look at the MCU overall, they have basically dropped in a younger version of every member of the Avengers. And pretty much the entire MCU has got considerably younger. Every single character, Ant-Man has a younger version.
After their stories were fleshed out. After their stories were fleshed out fully.
Because none of them died.
Every single character, however they decided to recast them and put in a younger character, they have been replaced or have been a younger character has been introduced. Okay. Right. So the way they handled this, I believe they were already looking to put in a younger T'Challa anyway. Because when you consider the fact
Chadwick Boseman was healthy, Chadwick was healthy.
That's
not what would have happened.
At the very least, you gotta let me finish my point.
But that's not true.
If it is like that, at the very least, you should. I said there's a theory. Number one. Number two,
you did start with that.
It's very much. If you look at the fact that all you have to look is Tom Holland. Okay, his recasting. That it wasn't never even recasting if you really put it that way. But his casting of Spider-Man has probably made Sony and Marvel millions of dollars compared to anybody they could have recast, especially if it was somebody older. They're going to have this particular character or this particular actor as well in this role for much longer had they had than even the two actors that they had cast previously in that role. So it's to their advantage to have a younger person in role.
Mhm.
And what you see, even from a story standpoint, what I find to be actually you find to be very beautiful is that the first one was very heavily masculine. You had two very strong masculine leading roles. You had two heroes' journeys happening simultaneously in the first film.
Mm-hmm.
In the second film, they went predominantly female, which turned out great in my
Flaming.
opinion.
Flaming.
And I believe that the next storyline is going to be T'Challa and Storm.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the
I was
perfect
thinking about that
opportunity.
too,
We all
It'll be
hope
the
so.
perfect
especially with the
opportunity.
Nakia
So
thing.
it's
Because
sort of
y'all
like
talked
the
about,
next,
well, you had talked about Nakia and why T'Challa didn't marry Nakia.
right.
And it's like, well, he never in the, well, I know that it doesn't matter, but he married Storm, you know what I mean? But
Oh,
that's
don't
like,
matter. That's the comics. That's not the
but it's
MCU.
certain things you
I'm
can't
just
change. Like you
saying.
can't change the fact that T'Challa is a black man because the story revolves around his blackness. It revolves around him
Mhm.
being a man of Wakanda. And a huge
Mhm.
part of the storyline in the comic book series is his ties to Storm, who is of Wakandan heritage herself. So it's like,
No, she knows.
how much do we want to honor the lore versus like thinking outside the box and deviating in light of very fucked up circumstances that nobody foresaw happening, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and to that point, I've never confirmed this, but there is a clip of Chadwick Boseman saying that he does not, that the character does die in the next film. Now I never confirmed it. I don't know if it was ever confirmed. I know that in the books, if it does have any relevance, T'Challa's character dies before Shuri takes on the role.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a
No,
very good chance that in this
no,
movie, if they had
That
already
doesn't
always planned,
doesn't happen.
if they already planned that
Doesn't
Shuri
happen.
was going to take over the role, it's very probable
Doesn't
that
happen.
even if Chadwick was in this film, that he might have died maybe in replace of his mother, maybe
Well,
in the
see,
replace of any other character that might have passed away in this film.
problem
So
with
it's
that
No way for
possible.
Why would they kill this man if they loved him this much in this role? This is where the logic fails.
well, the problem
No.
with
I
that
Because
think
is
that if
they
Chadwick
were
were still
looking to
alive, they
every
would have
single
absolutely milked
they
it.
were going
Bruh,
to look,
if he
they were
was
going to look
healthy. No, Imani.
every single, regardless of how they are, every single MCU character right now has an
Of the
out.
first
They have
generation.
there's an
Of
exit
the
strategy.
first
There's an exit
generation
strategy
who
for
had
every
okay,
single one of
Imani,
those
stop.
characters.
Imani, stop.
This,
Imani,
this,
I'm gonna stop you. Imani, I'm stopping.
why would you?
You keep saying every single one has had a different, and I'm telling you, yes, there's a new Captain America because there was 3 Captain America movies. Yes, there's a new person as Thor because there was 4 Thor movies. Yes, there's a new person as Iron Man because there was 3 Iron Man movies.
Right.
There was a new
But
Hawkeye.
we've had the luxury of
4
having these.
Hawkeyes.
But we've
That's
had the
fine.
luxury of having these same actors for over a decade.
Chauna, I hear you. I'm only going off what Imani is saying. He's saying that they were going to skew younger anyway. And the point I'm trying to make, just because everybody else is skewing younger, and the point I'm trying to make is no, it wasn't going to happen because if Chadwick was healthy and here, he would have been Black Panther for at least 2 more movies. At least
Agreed.
2 more movies. So that's why I'm calling. No, I'm not saying, I'm just saying that theory doesn't make sense because of how freaking popular that first movie was.
Well,
They're
it's
not
also-
going to recast the character who if they, mind you, why if they loved him this much in this role, killing him in the second movie literally make no sense.
Yeah, but
well,
I don't even think
it's
they
also been
necessarily would have.
debunked. It's also been debunked in interviews with Ryan Coogler and producers who say that because of the death of Chadwick, they had to completely
rewrite the whole movie,
rework what was going on. So, Imani, that's just not. It's not true, and it's. I hate when this misinformation about this situation is spread because it's already been debunked. Right? When he passed, they were already in pre-production, well into pre-production of Black Panther 2. It was never going to be Shuri focused. We were always going to have those powerful, strong female characters. They make up so much of Wakanda and Black Panther's lore. That was always a given. But this Black Panther 2 was never meant to focus on Shuri. It was always going to be T'Challa versus Namor. Namor was always going to be in the film. So
I
that's
do think at the very least, if Chadwick Boseman was still here with us, that the second movie would have more centered him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that in light of his passing, and I think that they probably would have incorporated Shuri more in the third movie. I think that in light of his passing, they decided to pivot and, you know, like flip it. And they're like, okay, well, let's give this some time to like find the guy who is the best for this job and train him and get him acclimated to the role, in the process of which we don't hold up the momentum of this franchise, and we can pivot and go ahead and let Shuri have her shine now while we figure this out. You know what I'm saying? Because it is, you got to think about the task. I'm thinking about this from like a showrunner standpoint, and I look at recasting T'Challa while you're in the middle of production for the film as like planning a convention while you're in the middle of a Kickstarter.
But they
like,
pushed the movie back though. They already pushed the movie back though. Production was pushed back.
I think that was going to happen regardless. But if they recast T'Challa in the second film, it would have been pushed back even further.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that.
There's an interesting point also. If you look at the first film, this was also always going to be a predominantly female film, I think, because there were cues in the first film as well. Because if you remember correctly, Ramonda wanted Nakia to take the herb, which I thought was interesting in the first film,
which would have made way more sense than Shuri.
Which was always my point. But at the same time, it always gave me the idea that they were already leaning in this direction.
You keep saying that, dude. It does not. That makes no sense. The only reason she pointed out about Nakia taking the herb is because they thought T'Challa was dead, dude. They thought he was dead. It was part of the story. That's not like, well, let me hint at this story, dude. Like,
right, but even in the end battle scene where you see like the women coming into, like Shuri goes into battle. You know what I mean? Like nobody really, I guess the Wakandans never would have foresaw like Shuri going into battle and to fight. Like she had been empowered as a scientist and as like a thought leader in Wakanda, but not as a warrior. But then at the end, you do see her fighting. And then not only that, but you have to think about the symbolism, the colors the whole time. Shuri's wearing purple. Purple is the color of royalty. So it's like they're kind of like setting up the stage. I saw in the first film that was like the impression that I got was that like, oh, okay, they're setting up the stage for Shuri to take the mantle one day. Don't know if it's going to be the second film, but they're setting up the stage for her to take up the mantle one day. I peeped that in the first film. So like, I think, again, in light of the circumstances, they were like, all right, well, we didn't want this to happen right now. We wasn't ready to have Shuri be Black Panther right now. We wanted T'Challa to have a run first. But we're doing the best with what we've got. You know what I mean? That's essentially what it is. We're doing the best with what we've got.
Like I said before.
Go ahead, Morgan.
Like I said before. And I'm so glad that we're close to the end of this conversation forever. At least with me in it.
Y'all need to stop bringing it up.
I did not. I specifically told.
I don't bring this up. I don't bring this up.
I told both of you in the thread.
I didn't bring it up.
This was the last time I was talking about it with you guys.
You don't like T'Challa. We get it.
No, that's a lie.
Wow.
See, that's what I said. People just be saying whatever.
We get it.
Look, the entire point. I would have been fine if they had recasted them. I was gonna go. This is how I know that.
We was gonna see it regardless.
Thank you. I am a black man. I'm a black man. Give me a second. Why do you keep interrupting me?
As a black man, nigga. As a grown man, what you doing?
If I don't yell, you gonna
nigga, don't yell at me. I'm not yelling at you. Don't yell at me, dude. Don't yell at me. I'm not gonna fight you, but I'm gonna tell you, don't yell at me.
Just hush.
It would be nice if you let him finish though, because you do interrupt.
You've been continually cutting me off every time I spoke all night. I did not do that to you.
Keep it fun.
Anyway, the entire point of this entire conversation, every time we've had it, is about when the time period of when he's going to be recast. That's what this has always come down to continually every time, even though we all agreed every time we've agreed that he's going to be recast. This entire conversation has been coming down to that. I, as a black man, and most black people, were still going to go see that film regardless. Whether they recast him or not, black people were going to go see that movie. They chose not to, which we've all acknowledged. They chose not to recast it out of the grief that they felt in the Marvel Universe, primarily because nobody on the set, behind the camera, executive producers, nobody knew at all but his family. So when that crap hit like a ton of bricks, it really hit everybody like a ton of bricks. Could they have just waited and just recast the character and continued on with the same script that Ryan had already written before Chadwick died? Yes, they could have. They chose not to. I'm sorry. I hate that they didn't do that. But they did not do that. And now they made a new film and they rewrote it, and people still went out to go see the movie. At this point, we have fully fleshed out the fact that you guys are upset that they did not go ahead and recast the movie immediately. We get it. We get it. Everybody gets it. Everybody understands. They should have just recast it. You didn't need to jump through hoops. We know it's about grief. We know all of this. We know they got contracts. We know that. Okay. So they should have recast it in you guys' opinion. And there's a whole other side of the internet that says you shouldn't recast it. That they were damned if they did and damned if they didn't. It didn't matter which choice they made. There was going to be a problem from one community or the other one. Didn't matter which way they chose to go. But they chose to go one way. And I thank you for both of you guys going to see the film. Thank you for everybody in the recast T'Challa band camp that y'all wanted them recast and you still went to go support the movie anyway and say it out loud. This is a beautiful film. We need to do all of these things. Thank you guys for all going to see it. Right? We really appreciate every person, black, white, whatever, that went to go see the film. We can argue about recasting T'Challa all we want, but that moment's already passed. It's already passed. There's no reason for us to continue to rehash it every time we talk about Black Panther. So you guys, we know where you stand, right? We know where you stand. We know where we all stand seeing the movie. Do we have to talk about it again? Do we have to? Do we have to talk about it again?
Well, me and Javon want to see process.
No. Nope. I just want to say this. I'm never going to bring this up again. I said this before. I didn't want to bring it up again, and y'all brought it up again. I said it on this show. I didn't want to bring it up again, and y'all brought it in. But I want to say this. Keep this same energy the next time you have an issue with somebody doing something on something that you love that you don't like. Keep the same energy, because when I tell you, get over it. We've heard enough about it. Let's not talk about it again. I don't want you to say no.
Can I explain the difference?
Oh, I was told you not to interrupt.
I'm so sorry. You are absolutely correct. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Go on, sir.
I'm just saying I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear no more issues. When we talk about Thor, Love, and Thunder, don't suck your teeth about gore. I don't want to hear nothing anytime, because I'm once again, I was a fan of T'Challa. I wasn't happy with what they did, but I went to see the movie anyway. And when we were talking about what I liked and disliked, I didn't even bring up the recast. I was talking about the son thing. Just remember that.
That's fair.
I did not bring up the recast. Okay? We can rewind the tape. I didn't bring it up.
I mean, to be fair, it's like the elephant in the room, so like I get it. And like it is a franchise. Like the Black Panther comic book franchise is older than the Black Panther Party, predates the Black Panther. So I understand why everyone's like so passionate about it. And I want to reiterate what Morgan said. Like, I've always been team recast T'Challa. I've always thought that, like his role, like the whole mantle is bigger. Like the whole thought of us never recasting him like ever again was just like
delusional,
unreal to me. It didn't make sense to me. But I did also understand the circumstances. Like Morgan said, like nobody knew the fact that like no one knew that this dude was gonna just up and pass. Like it was very sudden. And what that meant for the cast and people who knew this man personally. Like I have to give respect to that. To them as human, like I have to honor these people's humanity. Otherwise, like, they're actors, they're contracted, but they're still human beings. You know what I mean? And they, it's unfortunate that things didn't get to pan out the way that it did. But we pivot and we make do with what we have. And that is really the embodiment of the Black experience. We don't always get our freaking way, but we figure shit out and we move forward. So I just wanted to say that.
I mean, I appreciate that, and I'm with you. Like, as a human being, I understand and I've said this to Morgan like a bunch of times, like so many times. I understand, but I'm just giving my opinion as a fan of the character, and I've been a fan of the character before I even knew who Chadwick Boseman was.
Right.
I've been a fan of the character before there was even a Black Panther. Not a Black Panther.
Same.
Before the movie, the first movie,
Same.
Civil War. So. For me, it is that I have my emotional connection. Like some people have emotional connections to Chadwick Boseman. Humans gonna die, T'Challa Wakanda. Danny, stupid. I have my emotional connection to T'Challa, while some people have an emotional connection to Chadwick Boseman. And I'm saying let's make room.
Have an emotional connection to both. Like it's not
right. But I'm saying let's make room for everybody to feel the way they feel. Because I feel like the people who feel like recast T'Challa, the people who don't agree with that and are just like, well, just deal with it, just deal with it. It's almost like, well, we don't care how you feel. This is what you're getting. And that's why you get so many people passionately discussing it. Instead of going, you know what, we understand that you like this character and it's unfortunate. So we understand. Like I'm not going to give you a hard time about it.
Right.
But I got certain people who will remain nameless telling me to get over it and to move on and everything, but then they will continually bring it back.
I understand.
So that's all I'm saying. Let's make room for everybody to feel the way they want to feel.
That is fair.
If you don't like the person, if you don't want to talk about recasting, don't talk to the person that wants to recast about it. Don't bring it up.
All right. I don't want to interrupt. All right, are you done or
no? Go ahead.
Are you done? Or are you finished?
Are you finished?
Is you done or we finished?
Thank you so much. I just didn't want to be rude.
Oh my gosh.
So I want to quickly explain why it's different, right? The reason I explained it earlier in the show, but I'll go back to it. The reason that I said what I said earlier is because we've had this conversation on this show alone at least 4 or 5 times, at least.
I believe it. I totally believe it.
That's number one. Number two, we've had this conversation outside of this show on Threads.
It's an amazing conversation.
Over 10 times. Over 10 times.
It's a great conversation.
And how do you respond to me? How do you talk to me about it, though?
Wait a minute.
Like, it's about how you talk to me.
I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that. And that's what I'm explaining. The reason, so you're saying keep that same energy, right? And you're saying like you want to compare it to me with the Gore, with my criticism of them wasting Gore and Thor: Love and Thunder. The reason it's not the same. Number one, I don't have an attachment to Gore whatsoever at all. That was a critique of a film, and it was the first time we talked about it. We only talked about that movie and them wasting Gore once on this show. We talked about it in the thread maybe once or twice, but we've had this conversation as a whole. We've had this conversation has to be over 20 times now. So that's why I said in the thread, you guys can have this conversation all you like. I am backing out of it because I don't have anything else to add to it. We're not going to agree. We're not going to change our minds. So there's no point in us continuing this conversation, either on the show or off. Now, if people want to see sparks fly, because we're going to grate, 2 trucks into each other again with this topic that is already dead, especially now that the movie's over, sure, we can do it again. I'm just saying I am backing out. Now, I did say Javon was whining. I did say he was being selfish. I said that probably second or third conversation, but that was a part of the conversation. That was a part of the conversation and us going back and forth when we were having it. That's not me telling you to get over it. I just now got to the point.
So saying I'm whining isn't rude.
After the 22nd.
So saying I'm whining isn't rude.
Morgan, you said that in the chat. You said get over it in the chat.
And there's a reason, I said it, because we had the conversation that in the chat that was, so let's say this is the 22nd time we talked about it. The chat was the 21st. That's the reason I'm like, yo, I'm done. I'm not talking about it no more.
I think to just put that blanket of like get over it for either side is kind of like, you know, it's a way, like you don't want to like shut it down. I agree with Javon that like we can disagree and still honor, like, yo, I feel you with this T'Challa thing. I really do. Like, I would have never, like, I still cry about Chadwick Boseman. Like this, like for real. I really do. Like just the whole, you know, like why couldn't we, why did it have to be our guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did it have to be our dude? You know what I'm saying? So I totally resonate with that. But again, I think that it's so, and maybe this just me as a Black woman, like the whole, like, all right, well, I didn't get my way, you know, and this is a really fucked up situation, but I'm going to have to pivot and figure out something else until we can recast this dude properly, you know? So that's kind of like how I foresaw it. And even when Chadwick Boseman had passed, I kind of knew then. I was like, oh, they're not going to recast him until the third one. You know, because of the magnitude. And again, I don't think that we really understand or honor how, like, this has never happened before. And Black Panther ain't just any other, you know, like comic, like the influence, the cultural influence of Black people as a whole is in many ways riding on this franchise. Like, let's not even.
We should have done recast.
But why? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you have why? But why the rush to recast? You know what I mean?
It's everything you just said.
I think
correct.
I think what Coogler and them did in the first movie, I think it. What I find so disheartening about all this is, like, I think they earned the benefit of the doubt.
Say that.
Hallelujah.
Whatever approach they would have taken would have been the right one, considering how just how well they accomplished the first one.
Yes.
How the impact that they had on our community as a whole.
Where's my tambourine?
And how much they love that man. And it's sad that we don't give them the grace and the room to make this decision and make something out of that honors and respects everybody involved.
Right.
And I think they accomplished that. But the fact that we find it so hard to give them that opportunity is a bit disheartening for me, because
we went to see
I don't
the movie.
because it gives the impression that they had ill intent or they were being malicious in their decision, or they were being. I'm not speaking to y'all's opinion.
We're not speaking to y'all because y'all went and saw the movie.
But by and large, there's a good portion of the recast T'Challa community
who were like boycotting the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you know why? You know what?
And they're implying, and they do imply a lot of different things and intentions that I just don't think is fair. And that's the only point I would like to make, is that regardless of how we feel, I think these people that created this film, in both of these films, deserve all the grace and benefit of the doubt. They earn that.
Right.
And regardless of whether it's.
But we gave them this. We gave them it. We went to the movie.
I will say.
No, you did, and that's like real respect just off GP.
I was gonna go to the movie because it was all Black people, all you know what I'm saying?
But see, that's the thing, and that was the complaint with the first one, right? They said that there wasn't enough world building around Wakanda in the first one. So I think that they used the second movie since like T'Challa, you know, since T'Challa and that whole situation, they're like, okay, well, one of the gripes people had with the first one was that they didn't see enough world building for Wakanda. So we got more of that here. Like, you actually got to see more of Wakanda and the people and like how they live their lives and how the infrastructure is set up and stuff. outside of just the vibranium. You know what I'm saying? So they really like try to take, like, again, it's like taking what you've been, the situation that you've been given that is not ideal at all, you know, and trying to make the best with what you got. And regardless of whether they recast him now or later, half the fan base would not have been happy. Period. You ain't gonna make everybody happy.
But can I make a point on that? Go ahead. I was gonna say yes.
Hold on.
Oh, my bad.
Amani had an amazing point. Chauna, amazing points. I think the problem is that we can agree to disagree. But what we're seeing, as Javon kind of spoke to earlier, like Amani, if you go to the recast hashtag on Twitter and other social media sites, it's not that negative epitism that you're saying, right? People are absolutely loving this film. This is an amazing, beautiful film, but people also understand the importance of the one black superhero character that we have. It has to trump feelings. It has to trump grief. It has to trump. And Chauna, you just completely said beautifully what Black Panther was for our community. That's why you have to recast. Wakanda Forever really could have been a Disney Plus show. I agree. The lore, the exploration of the lore and the kingdom and the amazing side characters. Listen, Black Panther in the MCU has the most important and entertaining side characters, supporting characters. That goes without saying. We all agree. My problem with you guys' side of this and what I'm seeing on your side is not allowing a mutually exclusive type of feeling, right? So if you're for recast T'Challa, then you aren't, and this is some of the things that I've heard and Morgan and them can attest to. If you're for recast T'Challa, then you're against women, or you're against black women, or you're against this and you're against that. Where we're saying
it's just more so like the breakdown in like the fixation on the character in spite of the circumstances. Can we and should we recast him? Yes. But I think that we shouldn't have to choose between recasting and feeding the franchise versus giving grace to these very real people who built this franchise and made it what it is.
That's the problem at hand. We had a choice. I keep saying this and no one seems to understand this. If this was a different superhero character, they would have showed up, recast it in their next film.
I don't believe that.
I don't think so. And I think if they did, it would have been a lot longer before.
They just did Thunderbolt
Ross. I don't believe that.
On who the character
I don't believe
is.
that for a second. If Robert Downey Jr. died, died before Iron Man 2 was made, they're not gonna put just somebody in that suit for the second movie. No, they would not. That's a lie.
Can I say something?
That's a great point. That's a good point.
Robert Downey Jr. literally built the MCU. The Iron Man is what.
Put up what Jamari just said.
They're not getting ready to do that.
Can I say something?
Yes. I mean, it's not my show, but
it doesn't. Dark Knight.
Hold on. So,
go ahead.
Morgan, hold on. Morgan has made that point before about if Robert Downey Jr. died in Iron Man 1, they wouldn't have recast.
They wouldn't.
I'm gonna tell you specifically why they would have recast. Number one, the amount of money that Marvel had tied up in that franchise being successful was substantial, right? Like basically, if the MCU had been a failure, they would have lost the rights to their character, the characters. So there's no like, well, we're not going to recast. They needed Iron Man out there. After the success of the first Iron Man, and if they had greenlit Iron Man 2, they needed Iron Man out there. So that they weren't going to recast Tony Stark. That's not true.
I mean it in the exact.
I'm saying in Iron Man 2.
They would have recast them, but it would have taken them some time, I think.
Yes, it would have been very similar to this.
But you're making my point, though. When you say it would have been some time, and that's why I said earlier, push the film back.
So that's what you would have done.
That's what I said. I've said that. I've said, hold on. That's what I said before. Push the film back until they were comfortable enough with who they picked to be their next T'Challa and comfortable within their recovering of their grief to do the film. That's what I said. So every time you guys say, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
To that point, I think that's why they went ahead with this film, because I think there is a good portion of this film that was already going to be a part of the film originally.
Right.
This is why I think this is why, because if it was like a completely fresh,
Ryan did say he had to rewrite it all, though.
He had to rewrite it all.
I can see pushing it back. But if
Ryan said he wrote the whole thing,
a portion of the direction was already laid out, and it could just as easily have been made in this time frame within phase 4, I think that's the route that they went with. Just to that point.
Amani, Ryan already said they had to rewrite the entire.
Ryan
no, hold on. He didn't say the entire movie. He did say that it was always going to be to Namor versus T'Challa. Like that's what the original film was going to be about.
Right.
Namor
so the story of Namor was always in
Namor was always going to be there, but with them passing, they had to rewrite it to add a lot more of the other stuff not involving him.
Gotcha.
And again, just as easily it could have been T'Challa dying from that battle, right?
God, you got to give up that, man. It wasn't going to happen, dude. Like they were going to get 3 movies out of Chadwick Boseman, dude.
The half of from the
Can I just say that, like,
Wanda died to the end of the film could have just as easily been placed in any other film. It could have just as easily been if y'all could have, because I think they might not have recasted T'Challa if for no other reason that this character was only going to be in half of the movie.
So they already
only going to get half of the film. So you rewrite.
You think they would have killed him 3 times on film?
Jesus Christ!
For no reason.
They didn't recast him. Is what I'm getting at. It's like you're going to recast him to kill him again. It's like
but they did that already. He wasn't
in this. We're not considering possibilities in this storyline that would have made this film even that much more difficult.
If Ryan Coogler is so attached to Chadwick Boseman that literally him dying made him want to quit the movie, why do you think he would write him out the series?
Directing period. Actually, he said
directing
he was about
period. Why would he write him out? Why would he write him out the series?
That's not writing him. I
don't think he wrote him out the series.
No. Right. He's saying that he might have. He said he was going to die. He might have died in the second.
That character might have died anyway in this storyline. So I'm not saying like the emotional attachment still would have been. That part in and of itself might have been part of the job.
Okay.
Now that's all.
I'm just going to agree to disagree on that.
So you think
so completely unrelated?
Gave Black Panther a trilogy. You don't think that you think he would have been the only one who when he redefined the box office, you think he would have been the only character without a trilogy and some existential appearances in other movies? After we already killed him twice already. One where we accidentally killed him in the first Black Panther where they all thought he was dead. Then he was blipped out. Your understanding is they were getting ready to kill him off. That's your actual understanding.
Yeah, I don't necessarily.
In the second movie.
True. I think that what they probably
he thought it was possible.
Right. Because at first what I thought they was going to do, you know, when we were all when Chadwick Boseman was still here and with us and alive and well, I thought that they were going to have Shuri take up the mantle while Chadwick Boseman was blipped.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
But then Shuri got blipped too, didn't she?
Right.
So it was like, okay, well, damn. All right. And before I go, because it's like I'm just like low energy and I got to do some stuff tomorrow. But let me just say this, because totally unrelated to the recast T'Challa thing. Namor was like super problematic and was like very much asserting colonialist mentality on the Wakandan people and was like, all right, so we both hate colonizers, right? But you got to do what you got to do what I say, or I'm gonna wipe all your people out.
That's
like, are Namor. You not perpetuating the same bullshit that these colonizers are doing?
That's about Namor. That's about right.
That's a great point.
That's about right for him, though. Namor wiped anybody out. Namor wiped anybody out.
But you asking for their allegiance under the guise of, hey, we're in this together. But like, first of all, the way he even went about it was all wrong. You don't roll up on the fucking queen and the princess while they're unarmed. And then you basically like put your foot on their neck. I mean, yeah, in the art of war, yeah, but not if you're trying to build a coalition with them. Yeah, you don't tell no confident black woman do as I say or else.
But that's
sure
Namor
answer's
though.
gonna be
Yeah,
fuck you.
Namor
and
been
I'm
a
about to go get this
Namor been a
vibranium.
dick for Namor been a dick since he
Yeah, I
since
don't. His
first
interest wasn't
appearance.
actually, building a. He could care regardless about
Yeah, he
building
could care less.
alliance with them. He was just saying you're going to be on my side or you're going to die.
Pretty much,
Right.
like.
But the whole appeal to the appeal to solidarity, it's like, why are you even appealing to that? Like, if you just want me to be your slave, then just say that. Like, if you just want to be the new oppressor, if you just want to be the new oppressor flying fish, just say that shit. Don't come at me like some, like we can be like, indigenous and black people, yay. And then you like doing the same shit the white people doing. Like, stop
what
it.
Danny said he wanted to use them. He wanted to be allies. That's what he said.
No,
he basically
I agree.
said that at the end of
But
the
just
movie.
say that. If you just using me, just say that. I would have more respect for you if you come at me like, look.
Jamari is right there, though. Jamari is absolutely right. I thought Namor should have been way more ruthless. Like, there's no way once again, this is the comics, so whatever. This is the comics, so it doesn't matter. But in the comics, he would have snapped that chick neck as soon as they captured.
Yes, somebody did say that. They were like, why ain't he handle Riri right there on the spot?
He would have snapped her neck. Why am I even talking to you about this? I got what I wanted.
And speaking of Namor, he another thing why I think why I believe we should have recast is that there's no way Namor should have been that impactful. I mean, as far as he shouldn't have outshined a lot of the cast in their own movie. So that's another problem that I had. It's like Namor was the main character in this film. Like, no one has a problem with Shuri being Black Panther. We only saw Black Panther 8 minutes of the film. Like,
right. That I can agree with. I do think that because of the lack, it's like the whole notion of like, why do we always have to share space? And that whole bit. Like, I do appreciate the fact that they tied it with the Mayan culture,
it was beautiful,
Yucatan Peninsula, and all that. Yeah, I don't agree with the haters. Like, well, why did they make them Latino? Like, bitch, they're all indigenous. Like, it's just a left. Like, literally, like you're either north or south. Like, they all spoke different languages. They all did their own thing. But I do agree. It would be nice to see like a film that just completely is Wakanda centered and centered on the Wakandan experience. Also, I just have the vision of Black Panther fighting the KKK in my head, and that's who I want to see as the enemies next time. Like the first movie, we were fighting against ourselves and the angst of the abandonment issues of African Americans, right? And then in this one, it's Black people versus Indigenous people, which is a very real thing. There's a lot of anti-Blackness within Indigenous communities. Absolutely. I'm not going to get into it today. And there's a lot of appropriation of Indigenous cultures on a part of all races. But I would very much like to see T'Challa or Black Panther, whoever. I think that they're going to recast T'Challa in the third one. But quite frankly, like if you don't pay enough attention, you might miss it. But the real enemy through all of this are the colonizers. It's the colonizers. Real talk. Like even when the old girl, Elaine's character, she always going to be Elaine from Seinfeld to me. When she talked about like when she said, "I actually dream about having." All the control of the vibranium. And I just sat there like, bitch, I bet you do. Like, that's how, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want to see. But of course it's Disney and we can't, we got to think of the white people. So, the most oppressed group in America right now. That's my rant.
I like Namor. I just thought they didn't push his jerkness far enough. Like
I think they may in future films.
They will.
That's fine with me. I just feel like I said, when he didn't snap that chick neck, and I'm sorry, I know I'm pretty sure I'll be called a misogynist. Whatever. I don't care at this point. I don't care at this point. There's no way on God's green earth Shuri should have been able to beat Namor. Sorry.
Absolutely.
No way.
Well, she didn't really beat. She outsmarted him.
Right? I will say this.
That nigga out in a sauna.
100%.
Okay, but you're gonna tell me this dude ain't never been hot before?
one of the things that I love the most, one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Period. Of there are more than one, but the scene when she went to the ancestral plane and Killmonger was sitting in that seat, I could have flipped every chair in that mother freaking theater. I was so hype for that, and I swore that they were getting ready to do a montage of her training with Killmonger, because if she's getting ready to go fight Namor, especially if we don't have no montage. No, that is one of my biggest issues with the film. I felt like if they were gonna put Shuri in that spot, you better show us Shuri throwing hands, because in the first movie she got handled, bro, like quickly. It wasn't even, you know what I mean?
She ain't fought in any movie she been in. She got the little gauntlets.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And she still
Thanos
came out.
took her out.
No, I agree. That part of it
definitely
early. That part of it was definitely like giving Rey from Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Like, how she gets so GP out of nowhere, like how she gets so OP out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that they did a good job of like utilizing Shuri's like real intellect. Like she's super smart. So she knew she couldn't beat this cat just like pound for pound, blow for blow. So she had to find a way to isolate him from his source of strength, which was water. And you saw he was like it's like his kryptonite, right? Where he was like increasingly getting delusional and like just was not himself. And it was almost like to the point of taking candy from a baby. Because that's what happened.
Whole scene, they were right near the beach. She was knocked out and he was up.
But when he was up, he was dragging his feet.
No. Before that. Remember, she woke up. Hold on. When he woke up, he just started beating her down. And I'm like, she was knocked out for a minute, and the water was right there. They could have did a little bit better with that. The third act to me was a bit weird. Like their whole plan was a bit suspect, but then somebody pointed out to me that it was a plan of a girl who's never done war strategy.
She never fought anyway.
So no, it's no wonder it didn't work.
Yeah, that's not her forte. I mean, the blessing of T'Challa, and I'm glad that's another thing that they did in the movie is when Shuri was in the lab. You know what I'm saying? When Riri asked her, you know what I'm saying, how she got to where she was like, my big brother. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff, even the stuff that she knew, like in the lab.
Gravy Kool-Aid does. Yes, it does.
Not great, but cherry and orange. I don't know now. But
hey, man,
I gotta get out of here.
Research, story with Black
amazing. Nice meeting you, Chauna. Good luck with your Kickstarter. We've all been there. We're gonna all give it a push. I'm going to share it to my Instagram. Amani,
bro.
Morgan, I wish you liked T'Challa. I'll let it go.
Oh my God.
One day.
Thank you so much for your clarity and your non-delusion.
I try, man. I try.
It goes a long way for our community. Morgan, recast T'Challa.
Wow.
Love.
Wow.
Hey, I just want to say before we all get off, I appreciate that we could at least come back down by the time we're here. So like, because that for some reason there's like two topics that we all get at. There's this one, and then there's Michael Jordan and LeBron, and neither of them end well. So neither of them end well.
It's like house and field going head to head.
You're right.
Like it's just but at least we brought it back down. And it just shows that we do all love these characters and we are all passionate about it. And we are happy that they have an opportunity to be in a different media form. But we're all going to have our opinions. And I am with you, Morgan. I'm here to put a moratorium. Is that it?
Hallelujah.
On recasting T'Challa. But if you ask me my opinion,
thank you.
Don't be mad if I give it to you.
I'm
dead serious.
Don't comment when I make a post on recast T'Challa. Don't comment on it.
Well, I have nothing to say. I will not. I promise you.
Excuse me. I make the point that Danny is the biggest instigator on this.
Well, it won't work. Okay.
Danny always instigates.
All right, guys.
I said in the thread the other day that I was done with it after tonight because the movie actually came out. You know what I'm saying? The movie, I said the movie actually came out, so I will talk about it one more time because the movie actually came out. We can talk about it. Now, I'm 100% willing to continue to talk about Black Panther the film for sure. I just don't want to talk about the recasting stuff. That, like, remember I was saying that to you yesterday, Javon. Like, it's not about not because you were saying I could give you my opinion on Black Panther, but you're not going to want to hear it. And I was telling you, no, it's not that. I just don't want to go back to the recasting conversation at all.
I tried not to.
I think the introduction of T'Challa's son led to that conversation.
It did. It did.
That's what it was.
But
I'm not.
That's what I'm saying is that
I'm not talking about that anymore.
Talking about that, it just naturally leads to that.
I'm over that. I don't want to talk about it.
I'm just saying that's where it came from.
I know. I'm just over it.
So if y'all don't want to have that other conversation anymore, y'all gonna have to kill that conversation too.
Nah, look.
I mean, the beauty of it is like talking about it, regardless of how you feel about it. It keeps the conversation going, and it keeps the legacy of Chadwick Boseman alive. It keeps the legacy of T'Challa alive. So like take comfort in that, if you will, and like just understand that it's a big, regardless of how you feel about it, everybody in the fan base has experienced grief on some level. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of which side of it you're on.
All right, I'm gonna say this and I gotta go. It's just funny because it just popped up, and that's how I know my phones be listening.
They definitely do.
Winston Duke is convinced that eventually T'Challa will return to the screen. There's no way that the saga and interpretation of T'Challa will end. I'm gonna need my phone to stop listening. Okay.
Well,
I caught my phone red-handed, like recording my conversation.
But again, that's a part of why. That's another reason why I said like we can seriously shelve it at this point, especially now because now the movie's out. We know what direction they're going. When another decision is made, we can discuss that then. But we don't. What we don't need to do is go back and say, well, they should have just because we can do it. But I'm just telling you, when it happens, I'm gonna be like, and I'm gonna just be like, y'all go ahead. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
The X-Men casting discourse is gonna be real funny because I guarantee you.
That's another point. It's like
that's gonna be real interesting.
We're assuming that this is like the only moment that we're ever going to get. Like T'Challa is like the beginning and end of this, and the reality is, Storm's casting and the way they introduced that could be another $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? Blade, if it's done right, could be another moment. It's like there's still these opportunities, and we're so invested. I see that we're so invested in T'Challa, we lose sight of these other opportunities, like Storm in and of itself. When you talk about, because people kind of dismiss the impact that Black women have on this film economically. You know what I'm saying? And when you consider that Storm's introduction into the MCU, it might not, is going to be huge. It's going to be, it's like, and that's where I think sometimes when you when it's almost like in the NBA or in the NFL, when like you sort of, it's like, of course you would never want to bench a Hall of Fame quarterback, but you put in a rookie and you get him on a rookie contract and you have that many more years to have success as opposed to having a aging Hall of Famer. Now
it's like Clinton Portis versus like Adrian Peterson when he first got drafted. Like Adrian Peterson was like a machine and was for a long time, and that dude could like sustain career-ending injuries and just like bounce back like it was nothing. Like
it was the most amazing thing. Almost 2,000 yards in that season. That's freaking. I think he did get 2,000. Did he get 2,008 yards? The next season?
But I didn't mean to cut you off, Amani. It just made me think about that.
But but corporations do this all the time, though. They look towards the future. It's hard to make these decisions in real time, and you have to weigh the consequences of that. But if you're looking at the next $1 billion, then we might find that it was smart for them to recast now, depending on who that younger T'Challa is. You see what I'm saying? Because when you're looking at, It's like, ideally, you give Chadwick 3, but being that he passed, now you're looking at the next 5 or 6
Right.
Black Panther movies. How do you set that up effectively? You know,
and not just set it up for Black
Panther,
Panther, but setting it up for Wakanda. Period. Like you said, the Storm piece. You know,
the Storm piece, that's a huge thing. That's another man. True.
I'm just interested to see how people react when Cyclops is black. I'm just saying. When it happens, and Professor X is black, people gonna lose their mind.
There's gonna be so much smoke if that happens, and I'm gonna say ahead of time, if that happens, I'm not gonna. I can't argue. I would not be able to say, yeah, that was. You know what I mean? Like I've never been the type. It's like when when it first got reported that Michael B. Jordan was thinking about doing a Superman movie, and I was like, please don't. Just like let it be something. Don't let it be Kal-El then. Like let it be. You know what I'm saying? Let it be another. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't his character like based on an African deity though?
Who?
Superman?
Mm-hmm.
No,
not to my knowledge.
It was made by 2 Jewish guys.
But my point.
I meant like the inspiration in terms of the folklore, not necessarily who wrote the story.
No.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge. But regardless of whether it was or not,
it has aspects of the story of Moses. If you could use that.
I just don't see I don't think it's far-fetched for a guy with superhuman strength who harnesses his power from the sun, who everyone hates because he's different. You know, like that's totally
people don't hate Superman though.
Of a black dude.
People don't hate Superman.
They have a love-hate relationship with him, absolutely. In every movie,
the sun thing came way after.
Well, like in every movie he's in, he becomes a pariah at some point because they're afraid, they're terrified of what he's capable of.
That's true.
You know, like
I
Batman.
think that's more of a modern
the whole premise of Batman versus Superman is this man has superhuman strength and could literally destroy the earth in the blink of an eye. And why are we just trusting him? You know what I'm saying? To do what is noble.
I think that's more of a modern interpretation of almost a more nihilistic way how we look at superheroes in general, right? And it has a lot of Zack Snyder, what his perception and way he looks at superheroes is very much like, you know, the world would hate us. Like if you look at Zack Snyder, every version of what he's put out, it's always a very negative slant when it comes to how the world will perceive superheroes. But if you look at like earlier incarnations of Superman, like the first few movies and even the Lois and Clark, you know, movie, even Superman Returns, Superman's always been more on the positive side of it, and people love him.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I was more so drawing comparison from the animated series one.
Well, the animated series, it was like at the end though. Remember, like throughout the entire tenure of it, like,
that's
and
true.
it was
that is
because of a certain storyline. Yeah.
That is a new phenomenon. I will say that it's not just exclusive to, even though it is a new phenomenon. This phenomenon isn't just exclusive to Superman or even the DC universe, right? Like there's the propaganda against Spider-Man and how the press tried to demonize him. Lex Luthor's propaganda against Superman, and even the propaganda against Batman, right? And like, why are we letting this vigilante run around, you know, and corroborating with the police? So I think that that's something that, like you said, it's a relatively new phenomenon because a lot of the comic book lore and origins is rooted in patriotism during the, you know, World Wars I and II. But now putting it into more of a modern context of what does it look like if we really had these people in the world and there were certain power.
Yeah, but I do think that, and just to go back to the joke that I made, but I do think there's going to be a backlash when it comes to the X-Men. And I was thinking about this today. And how because I've always been more of a traditionalist when it comes to, you know, adaptions. Like I kind of want the character to look what I see in the book. Right. But I said this on my Facebook page that I almost have to get rid of that because a lot of the wrong people are taking that same narrative and twisting it and turning it for the bad, like
their benefit. Yep.
right. So like, and X-Men has always been kind of a lily white franchise. Like, yeah, it's international, but it's international. Like you have the white Russian and then the white German.
Well, yeah, and it's supposed to be a colloquium for
right.
Malcolm X and MLK and their schools of thought, if you will. But I think that also part of it was at the time they knew that X-Men would not have done as well as it did if it had a bunch of black and brown faces on that joint.
Nope.
Like, let's be real.
You also have to consider, I've been thinking a lot about how they're going to introduce the X-Men because it's kind of problematic because the very premise of the X-Men is the idea of a master race, right? And it's hard to promote that, especially for a company like Disney to do that. So what you see that they're doing is you'll notice that the first mutants, quote unquote, that they introduce are all people of color, right? So you have Miss Marvel is suggested to be a mutant. You have Namor saying that he's a mutant. And so like these are the first two mutants technically in the MCU as of right now, right? Unless you include
Deadpool,
Deadpool being in the MCU and him being a mutant.
Wanda.
But you notice how
Wanda, they hinted that she was a mutant in
Wanda and Quicksilver.
And Quicksilver.
But you see how like they're carefully introducing even the idea. You know what I mean? It's like they're not just throwing out 5 random white kids and saying that these are mutants and this is the so-called master race, you know. So
they can mix it up. They can mix it up, but to me, I'm always for casting a character in whatever that race. We know race is a social construct, but I don't like. I would not want to. Like I said, when the Superman thing, when Michael B. Jordan brought it up, I was like, please don't cast Michael B. Jordan as Kal-El. Like, please don't do that. I would not have been. I would probably go see it, but I don't want. You don't need to do that. Like, we have our own characters now. We got our own characters now. Like, pick some characters that like at least can be like ambivalent. Like, there's no way for us to know.
Look,
like,
if they could. My whole thing on the flip side of that, if they could turn the ancient one who was supposed to be an Asian dude into a white woman, and Karen the ancient one.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I'm always for it. Like, it pissed me off when they got ready to do Dragon Ball Z, and when they did Street Fighter, like they're getting ready to do like video games and movies that and other franchises from stuff that we all love. And then you cast somebody. My biggest gripe that I've ever seen Hollywood do is doing the movie Gods of Egypt, and having white gods in Egypt. That crap blew my mind. That even got greenlit, and I was so happy that it bombed.
Yeah, and I think that to your point, it depends on the character, right?
Appreciate you coming through, bro.
Yeah, thank you. It was great talking with you. So it depends on the character for me. Like, even when you talk about Scarlet Witch, right? Yeah. Scarlet Witch's character is very much rooted in her like heritage being from Eastern Europe, right? So it would be very weird for her to like be anything but Eastern European because so much of her story and her character is rooted in her heritage, much in the same essence as Black Panther, right? Yeah, and Storm and all that.
That's the way that I mean. Exactly what you're explaining now. That's exactly what I mean.
You know, like now, if the character's identity isn't necessarily rooted in them in their race, then I'm fine with it. Like even with Spider-Man, like the whole, when people were all up in arms about Donald Glover being Spider-Man and stuff, but they didn't have no problem with Jamie Foxx playing the villain. But like, he's literally a struggling, like lower middle class, if not lower class kid living in freaking Queens, New York. You telling me that that's the profile of some white kid? You know what I'm saying? Like
it was at the time.
I mean, yeah, at the time, like in the 60s, when you had like when white people had a hierarchy and English people, Anglo-Saxons were here and Italians and Irish were here, but that's not the world we live in anymore.
But
I think that's a different. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Maury.
I still wouldn't want to. What you said earlier is what I've always agreed with. If that character is rooted in, and I'll go a little bit further than that. If that character's ethnicity and where they're from is rooted in there, it should never be changed.
Right.
But on top of that, like it's like the argument when people were pissed that Halle Bailey's getting ready to play Ariel.
Right.
That argument's stupid. It's a mermaid. Cut it. Shut up. You know what I'm saying?
It's just like Nick Fury. Like Nick Fury's character was originally white, and now we can't imagine somebody who's not Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. It is what it is.
People ate that, but like some of the arguments, like I said, to me, when you do a movie called Gods of Egypt and have white people playing it, I want to fight you. When they did what, not the Ten Commandments, the movie. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Javon.
No, I was just going to say I kind of agree with you guys, but at the same point, I also agree with what you said earlier, Morgan, that there are characters that can be used that are
that can be tapped
different.
Into.
Correct. All right. So like that's why once again, I think I'm okay with leaving everything as is, but I also think let's give some shine to the other characters that have been created that could use a little love, little like Guardians of the Galaxy love. You know what I mean? Like, DC, DC, I mean, DC made Black Canary black. I mean, okay, but why not have old girl be Vixen instead?
Yeah, agree.
You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. To me, I don't like it when I don't like it when it's.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
I don't like it for any
reason. Use the characters. Like, if you want a powerful Black male character, Blue Marvel is sitting right there. Like if you want a Black Superman-esque character, Icon is sitting right there. If you want a teen superhero with powers, Static is sitting right there.
I mean, and even Black Adam. I think that like one thing that Marvel does really well that DC could take some notes from is they take the characters that are already, of color or Black or whatever, and they show you how the way they introduced Black Panther was so like well done. Because it wasn't just like, oh, here's a Black Panther movie.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like they introduced him and showed how he fit into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mm-hmm. And that built up the anticipation for the mainstream folks who don't know about the comic book lore. You know what I'm saying? But it was like a cinematic introduction of that character. They need to do the same. I mean, they could have done the same thing with Cyborg, you know what I'm saying? Or Vixen. Or any of these other characters, like introduce them and show how they fit into the universe, and then you can branch out and give them their own movie because that will help.
We know DC is incapable.
Well, Black Adam. Black Adam is different.
Animated people are good. I'm sorry.
Black Adam was a passion project. Like that movie doesn't get made if it's not for The Rock. Like let's just keep it a buck. Like I don't think they cared to make Black Adam. He has literally been pushing to make Black Adam for like 10 years at least, maybe more.
And then part of that is like The Rock has a huge, like The Rock is one of the highest paid actors, period. Yeah. So he can leverage his star power.
Exactly. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Where with Black Panther, nobody knew who Chadwick Boseman was. Like a few people did if you saw 42 and but like the whole world of the mainstream of Hollywood and the world did not really know who he was. So they had to take a minute to introduce him into the cinematic universe and not only show off T'Challa, the character, but also to introduce Chadwick and Ramonda and T'Chaka and all them. So you can like build an affinity and a familiarity with these characters before you just dive in head first into the movie. You know what I'm saying?
But that's why I wanted Michael B. Jordan. Like when I know he wants to do, like I know a lot of people she did. We're interesting to talk to, Tyler. That's why she's still here. I think I wanted him
I
to.
know I did say that.
All these actors, all these black actors that say they want to do comic book movies, I want them to stop thinking about let's make this character black instead of and say
please.
let's find some black characters.
100%, because Lumberjacks is out here. Okay.
Hey, Heat been here, man. Heat been here. I'm gonna show
Harlem
y'all.
out
I'm
here.
gonna
Even
show
when you think
y'all.
about the Black Lightning
Look at that.
series and
There
how
you
well
go.
the Black Lightning series
that.
did when it first
This is
aired.
brand new. I just did this page today.
Yes.
But yeah, Black Lightning
Antagonist
was
is getting ready to hit TV next year.
yeah. But Black Lightning was a hit. Black Lightning got four seasons.
Mhm.
And you know, very few people know who Black Lightning is.
It just so happened to be on this. Well,
see, I mean, hey, CWs, they're dying anyway. But my point being,
they did it ass backwards, where they did the whole Justice League thing with Black Lightning and shit after the fact. They should have done that first to introduce the character, and then you had Black Lightning do. Like
if that joint had been on Netflix, it'd probably still be going.
But even Luke Cage was phenomenal. Like,
yes, it was.
Let's give, like, they need to stop looking at DC. Like, honestly, real talk, stop looking at DC and Marvel and make this your passion project. Like, there's plenty of options out there to make characters, and they kind of stick with this. Well, let me make Johnny Storm black, or let me make such, because it's an easy thing for them to do because of the brand. But you're not really taking a chance.
But I think the biggest reason they do that, though, is because they do see the value. They see the value in inclusion, whether they want it to or not. Money speaks louder than anything else that you want.
Right.
So what they've seen consistently is not only will black people support these films, but white people will support these films. And they should have known it from rap. They should have known this all this time, because the biggest consumers of rap are still white. Well, you know what I'm saying?
I'll say this.
It is what it is today because of that.
Jamari and I talked about this all the time. We were worried before Black Panther even came out, like way back when they had announced they were thinking about doing a Black Panther movie, and nobody was really talking about it. I was worried that folks weren't going to come out for it. I was.
Everybody was.
Right. So I'm saying that I was shocked that it was embraced to the level that it was.
You know the reason
legitimately
it was,
shocked.
You want the reason it was, though, and that's one of the reasons that I this whole time have been giving my hats off to Ryan Coogler and Disney this whole time. The reason it did what it did is because Disney didn't skimp anything when it came to Black Panther.
Yeah,
they gave Ryan full control over the film, and Ryan literally came to them saying, "Yo, either you give me full control or you find somebody else to do it." And they gave.
I don't think he did that. I think Kevin Feige gave him that.
No, but I'm saying, but it was also understood that if Ryan is not able to make the decisions about what's going in this film, what's not, and stuff like that, he wasn't going to work on it. I remember reading and hearing that. You know what I'm saying?
I think Feige was like, "This is black people stuff. I'm gonna back out."
That's fine.
Y'all handle it.
But that's what I'm saying. To his credit, the reason that it got received the way it did is because Disney didn't skip anything. They gave a full marketing budget. They gave a full clothing budget. I'm sure that they were somewhat involved in when Chadwick went overseas, when he went back home to all these different countries, so that he can hear the dialect, so that he can hear the language, so that he could pick. You know what I'm saying? All of that background work that nobody knew about until they told us. Ryan did the same thing. They went to Africa so that they could pull different pieces and present it to all of us. And Disney fully backed every bit of it. They get nothing. They will always get my praise for that. They will always get my praise for that. It's one of the things that I love most in the animated films now. The reason I love Moana like I do is because with Moana, Coco,
the world building.
Because they're not trying to tell you a white story in a different pigment skin. You know what I'm saying?
It's not like, I think the thing that makes Black Panther and all those franchises so powerful is when it comes to other superheroes of color, we're seeing them like living and having to conform and live and breathe in predominantly white spaces. Like even with Black Adam, like how many other black characters were like prominent in the film. I haven't seen it yet, just so you know.
I haven't
But
seen
like
it.
in terms of the series, like it's Black Adam, and then like that's it. You know what I'm saying? Black Lightning, you do see a little bit more of it where like he's in a black community, but it's still a
Yeah.
Black American community. Black Panther is unlike anything we've ever seen because it is completely like Afrocentric
Yeah.
in how it is built, and it's
Yeah.
built under the vision of what would it look like for an African country
Yes.
to have never been colonized and to have
Yes.
never been impacted by the transatlantic slave trade,
Mhm.
and to have a visual of that, you know, to have a visual of what liberation looks like for us,
That's
even
one
if
of
it
the
comes with like a heart-shaped herb and all these superpowers and stuff. It's like really profound. It's a profound experience.
but that's the reason that I love. That's why Ryan. I was already a fan of Ryan Coogler before Black Panther. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I was a fan from Fruitvale Station. You know
Mhm,
what I'm saying?
mhm.
But he put his foot in that script from Black Panther #1 in so many ways that are unprecedented. That it's the same as Jordan Peele. I revere both of them. They are both like in a different stratosphere. Like I say this all the time. My three writing spirit animals for people that are writing and doing what it is that I want to do ultimately in almost the exact same way. Ryan Coogler, Jordan Peele, Tommy Adeyemi. Her movie hasn't dropped yet, but Tommy, I want to make sure I'm saying it right. I don't know if she pronounces it
Oh,
Tommy.
Tommy
Tommy
Eddie.
Adeyemi.
Oh, I know. Tommy.
That
I
did
know who you're talking about.
Children of Blood and Bone and Virtue and Misery.
Uh-huh.
That when those movies drop, they're gonna blow the box office too. But it's the heart behind why they're creating the content that they did. Like when I was watching Black Panther, you pick up on little stuff. But when I was listening to Ryan Coogler do the director's notes, and he broke down the scene in the casino and said that he purposefully put Lupita in green, Okoye in
Oh yeah,
red,
the
and
symbolism of the colors. Yeah.
when he said that, I said, man, I already had an insanely high respect level for this man, but God knows it's just gone to a whole different level.
Yeah.
So
And then having Ruth Carter in it too, like,
yes,
and who went to Hampton, you know what I'm
yes,
saying? And
that's what I'm
her, and
saying.
how she's been instrumental in some of the most iconic films. Like pretty much any Spike Lee film, she's done costume design for that. and
Yeah.
and
I've
how
been
they
asking
work
for
together.
I've been asking for Blue Marvel for years, man.
So I
I've been
want to
asking for
applaud
Blue Marvel for a
before we
long
get off.
time.
I want to make sure that I applaud that again. Disney gets all of my respect. Feige gets all of my respect. Coogler gets all of my respect. This cast gets all of my respect. Javon, we be talking and just be saying what we be saying. You know how that crap goes. It's not that I don't respect your. It's not that I don't
Bruh,
respect your opinion.
dude.
I've said that on the show and I've said it offline, but I want to make sure it's said again. It's not me trying to shut you down. It's not none of that. The only reason I was even talking like that is because of the number of times we've had that conversation. That's it. It's
Okay.
not because I don't respect your opinion. It's not because if I didn't respect your opinion, I would not have asked you to do the show with me. So
What the heck?
it has nothing to do with none of that.
No, I'm just saying I've made a concentrated effort. We got bots on our thing.
Yeah.
I made an effort not to talk about this because I knew there's nothing I could do. There are people who reach out to me to talk about it, and they're like, "Oh, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it." And so my whole thing has been, I'll talk about it to who wants to talk about it. But as for this show, if you don't ask me about it, I'm not going to talk about it.
Fair.
So like, you know what I mean? But it keeps being brought up on this show, and then it's like, well, Javon, da 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 da. So then I talk about it, and then it becomes, why are we talking about it? So I wasn't honestly, I'm not even talking about the recast anymore. Like I'm over it. It's
no,
what's happening is exactly what I talked about. I think during like our second conversation about this, and I told you the timeline. It was going to be about 10 years before we see a T'Challa, like between the ending of the first Black Panther or the end of Endgame, really, and the next time we see T'Challa, it's going to be about 10 years. Like I knew that was going to happen. Like I knew this was going to happen. So I'm just kind of like here for it. But people keep asking me for my opinion because I think a lot of people want the show. and I give you the show. But you know, I'm very much going to be. I'm going to respect your opinion, and as long as you don't minimize mine, like
Fair enough.
that's all. Like if you ask me about it and I tell you about it, don't be like, well, why are we talking about this, or this is stupid, or da 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 da.
Yeah,
because the minute you go to that level, then I'm going to be like, then I'm gonna tell you why your opinion is stupid.
But that was why
and then we're going back and forth.
That was why I just explained that. For those who are not, I said it during the show. Though nobody else is privy to our thread, and if you haven't watched every episode, you don't know that we've literally talked about this 4 or 5 shows. So all I'm saying is, out of the abundance of conversations that we've had, and nobody's mind has changed.
I'm over.
For me, it's a dead horse. It's the same. It's the same as when Danny gets ready to talk about LeBron and Mike, and I'm like, bro, come on, yo. Like, there's gonna be times where it comes up, and like maybe we dive into it a little bit. It is what it is.
No,
like,
I'm over this. I'm over it.
I'm not trying to shut nobody down. I've only said I can control me, though.
I shut it down myself.
I can control me, and I'm like, yo, y'all can talk about it. I'm just saying I'm bowing out. That's it.
But I just want people to understand that where I'm coming from is I'm not a newbie in this. Like, I literally, in my bookshelf is a stream of Black Panther books, all T'Challa. Like, this is a character that I've loved for a very long time. So it's coming from a place of love. It's not coming from a place of, I don't want strong women to be front and center. It's not coming from a place where, I don't think a woman should be Black Panther. It's not coming from none of that. Like, this is purely like, I like this character. I prefer it not to be, pushed to the side because of something that was out of our control. But this is something we can control. But like I said, we're over it. We talk HBCU Con. I'm gonna be there. Absolutely. Me and Chauna going to chop it up on the Stoke podcast, and we ain't going to bring up recast T'Challa at all.
That's
we gonna talk about something else. We're gonna talk about something else, but y'all got to go out there and support it. I think, Chauna, I was the first backer for this. I'm almost
certain. May very well have.
I think I was the very first backer on this, but I'm definitely making my plans to make my way to HBCU Con. I might have a table. I'm trying to get Chauna to do a panel. I think it'd be really cool to do a panel with the 3 of us on it. The top 5 guys. I think that would be interesting, seeing as how we've never met before.
Yeah, I definitely think a top 5 panel would be dope for sure. I know my bandwidth is going to be a little bit limited because I'm running the show, but I'll definitely do what I can.
Cool. Hey, y'all got it.
Either way, you'll have space.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Or you already know what time it is. Y'all submit your forms or whatever through our website, submitted. And I'm gonna take care of y'all. The beauty of the Kickstarter is you can purchase your badges through the rewards tiers, and you can also purchase tables and stuff.
Oh, so I didn't see that.
So you can you can kind of kill 2 birds in one stone with supporting the Kickstarter and get your badges and stuff and such through there, and you get extra swag and t-shirts and stuff like that. So
I think I got the badge one.
Yeah, it's all good though. It's all good.
I didn't see the table one. I think I was rushing.
Yeah, y'all family. So y'all looked out for us so much that we could set up a little hookup or something.
Okay. So, but I gotta support it, man. It's listen, between HBCU Con and Blurred Con, I guess I'm gonna be in Baltimore a lot. I'm gonna be in Baltimore a lot this year.
Like I said, come out to gorgeous Prince George's, baby.
I'm trying. I had fun when I was at Baltimore Comic-Con. I wish I had been able to get around a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm sad I missed it because that's like my that was my first con, was Baltimore Comic-Con in 2015.
Yeah, I made friends with the founder of Blurred Con there. His table was across from my table, so we was partying the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I got the I wanted to make sure I got it up on screen again.
I got a peace out, y'all.
Yeah,
Chauna, we'll talk.
Thank you so much, Javon. I really appreciate it.
Of course,
we did get some pledges while we were live, and I appreciate y'all so much. I really, really, really want to stress how much work it is. For those of y'all that watch and have been watching for a while, you know we're all creators. You know we've all done Kickstarters, and you've heard us talk about before how much work it is, how much stress it is to do a Kickstarter. Shauna,
Very.
Shauna and Wendell, and her, all of the people that helped, all of our team that helped put that together. You know what I'm saying? Did their daggone thing last year. You know what I'm saying? We had a dope show. It was fun. You know what I'm saying? The culture was popping. There was a whole video game, joint that was going on in the room we was in. Like, look, there are not, as I said before, there are not many ideas on Kickstarter that could compete with this one at all, unless them others are like building like a Hydron Collider or like saving the world from games. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is one of the dopest. I told y'all this when you first brought it up. Like, I am soul connected to this. So I really, really, anybody that's watching this, whether it's live now or you're watching it on YouTube after the fact, please help us spread the word for this Kickstarter. Help us get this funded. Word of mouth is still the best way to market. Sharing it on social media works too, because we need to break this algorithm. But please share this Kickstarter. We got the link in here, and I'll make sure that I get the link up in YouTube for the post. And thank you for coming through tonight. We definitely will continue. We've been telling people about it, but we will continue to do it. Still got 26 days to go. We're definitely gonna say it every show to make sure we got it up there, share it on our pages. Bless you for putting it together and all the work that you put in to do this, and all the work that you just doing on a regular basis for the culture. For humanity, you know what I'm saying, for HBCUs, you know what I'm saying.
I really
It
appreciate that.
it definitely doesn't go unappreciated. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing this get back. So I'm gonna do everything I can to push it. And again, thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Morgan. Appreciate you.
That being said, we'll see y'all next week on Tuesday. I do not know. We have not picked the topic yet. Y'all know how we do. We usually try to pick by Friday. I do know that we'll be circling back to I don't know that we'll be talking about the Kyrie situation all over afresh, but that macro conversation I said we were going to have about it, that's still happening. So, you know what I'm saying? And now we got the Dave Chappelle portion that's been put into it too now. So quite sure that we're getting ready to circle back to that next week. So, that being said, we love y'all, man. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you again, Shauna. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace out.
Bye.